I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Boss? Present. Pipia? Present. Graham? Here. Hughes?
Present.
Fry?
Present.
Schroller? Throm? Barnes?
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, 6. All right, we will start with the Valor Awards.
Good evening. I know a lot of you are wondering what the Valor Awards are for tonight. We decided here about a year ago we were going to start honoring our officers for deeds that they have done, like life-saving awards or uncommon valor. It's kind of like we do on the state level, but it's more of a localized award. Then they get a pin for the uniform to wear as well. And we have 2 life-saving awards and a couple Valor Awards yet tonight. And it shouldn't take too long, but what we're going to do is Sergeant Oldie is going to read a citation, and then the mayor and I will present the plaque to the officer at the time. Okay?
First off, we're going to do the life-saving award. I need Officer Packett, Corporal Lease up front. Go stand between Todd and the mayor. What is the life-saving award? It's a recognition of actions not normally involved in the performance of duties, actions of an extraordinary nature, or actions that display outstanding execution of duties by an individual which directly result in the saving of a human life. Following citation is read as this. On September 22nd, 2017, at about 17:43 hours, that's 5:43 hours p.m., Officer Todd Packett responded to a call of an unresponsive person out in Marshall County. No sheriff deputies were immediately available in the area at the time of the call, so Officer Packett responded to the junction of US 36 and 99 highways. Responding with lights and sirens, Officer Packett arrived within 6 minutes of the call, pulling out of the vehicle an unresponsive male. Officer Packett started compressions. Corporal James Lease arrived and assisted in holding the head to keep the airway open. Color was soon returned to the man's face, indicating that he was getting oxygen. Compressions continued for 7 more minutes until they were relieved by EMS personnel who took over the scene and transported the male to the local hospital. Without the quick response and ensuing the preservation of life for this young man, he would not have survived. The young man is alive today because of the actions and life-saving measures given by Officer Todd Packett and Corporal James Lease. And just to note, this is Corporal James Lee's first award, Todd Packett's second. Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson will be getting 2 awards, one for his dedication of service, as well as a Valor Award. What is this Valor Award? It's a recognition of actions not normally involved in the performance of duties, actions of a heroic nature, or actions that display outstanding execution of duties by an individual which involve significant personal risk and heroism and demonstrate unusual judgment, zeal, bravery, and/or ingenuity. Citation reads as follows. On October 14, 2017, at approximately 15:51 hours, that's 3:51 hours p.m., Officer Tim Anderson responded to an urgent call that the Marshall County Jail had a fire inside. Officer Anderson, with another deputy, attempted to assess the fire inside, but could not see anything because of the thick smoke. While returning to his patrol vehicle to retrieve more restraints to evacuate the inmates, 2 loud noises could be heard from the basement of the jail. Running back to the jail, Officer Anderson was met by the Marshall County Emergency Manager, who informed him that inmates had taken his truck at gunpoint. That information then was put out on the radio, and Officer Anderson searched the perimeter for the escapees. Hearing a shotgun going off, he took cover behind a fire truck and identified both the stolen vehicle moving rapidly towards him, and another escapee carrying a shotgun. Fearing for the local residents' lives, Officer Anderson fired into the truck several times and apprehended the escapee with a shotgun, stopping any further damage to any Marysville resident.
The Medal of Valor for Timothy Anderson for extraordinary valor above and beyond the call of duty for actions taken on October 14, 2017 while responding to an urgent call to the Marshall County Jail. Officer Timothy Anderson, single-handedly apprehended an armed escape Marshall County inmate. Issued his 26th day of February 2018. For Tim's dedicated service award, from July 2nd, 2001 to December 28th, 2017, Officer Tim Anderson has served the Marysville Police Department and served the citizens of Marysville with genuine care and integrity. We thank Officer Anderson for your dedication and vigilance in the past 16 and a half years. God bless and good luck to you and your family.
Last but not least, we're going to recognize Chief Ackerman. Front and center, Chief. Austin, you come up too. He tried to hide these from me so I couldn't present them, so I found them. Awesome. I was across the street. Medal of Valor citation reads as follows. On October 14, 2017, at approximately 15:55 hours, Chief Todd Ackerman, being off duty, received an urgent phone call that a Marshall County jail had a fire inside. Chief Ackerman responded immediately in plain clothes and in his unmarked patrol vehicle. 2 blocks from the scene, he heard Officer Anderson yelling that 2 inmates had escaped. Then the Marshall County Emergency Manager came over the radio reporting that his private vehicle was taken at gunpoint. Chief Ackerman, on his approach to the scene, noticed a male running across the street from the courthouse in an orange inmate jumpsuit. Then the stolen truck appeared backing up to the intersection. Chief Ackerman then gave chase to the stolen truck northbound on US 77 highway into Nebraska. Several times the driver attempted to run motorists off the road. Seeing a moment where it was safe to do so, Chief Ackerman attempted to ram the stolen vehicle before anyone could get seriously hurt. The suspect was then apprehended by Chief Ackerman just south of Wymore, Nebraska.
Medal of Valor awarded to Todd Ackerman for extraordinary valor and beyond the call of duty for actions taken on October 14, 2017 while responding to an urgent call to the Marshall County Jail. Chief Todd Ackerman came across 2 armed escaped Marshall County inmates. One surrendered and the other one fled in a stolen vehicle. Chief Ackerman pursued the suspect into Nebraska where he apprehended the escaped inmate.
Well, we decided since we started doing these this year, once a year, we'll do this after we collect everything for the year. We had found that, and not just our department, but other departments across the state, we overlook a lot of things the officers do. And so we've now joined in with other departments, and it'll be a yearly thing in February every year. Thanks.
And also one more thing, Chief Ackerman, Tim Anderson, and Todd Packett, and James Lacey, their names and their citations have been forwarded to the Kansas Associated Chiefs of Police to be recognized, if possible, at their spring conference as well. So we'll wait to see the results of that. One more thing I'd like to read. James Kern was awarded the Valor a medal last year for the previous year's events. He couldn't be here today, and he was never really recognized in front of our community. So if you wouldn't mind real quick, I'll read his citation of why he was awarded Valor Award at the Chiefs Conference last year. It says, on December 10, 2016, during the evening hours, Officer Kern was dispatched to a domestic call. When Officer Kern arrived, he was met by a deranged man who was under the influence of illegal substances, had a gun in his hand, and was threatening to take his own life. Along with his wife, children, and mother present in the home, this man refused to let anyone leave. Officer Kern, assessing the situation in a basement hallway, tried to reason with the man. The subject used his child as a shield and ordered Officer Kern to back up the stairs. The situation found itself in the kitchen with the subject standing behind his mother as she sat at the kitchen table. Officer Kern, for the safety of his fellow officers, stood between them and the subject. Officer Kern used good judgment and tried to calm the man without having to use lethal force. The subject removed the magazine from the pistol. Only one round remained in the chamber at that point. Officer Kern continued negotiations till he was relieved, allowing negotiators to free the rest of the family.
James, we want to take a group photograph and put it in the newsletter.
You can, that would be nice, yeah. If you want to.
Can we have two levels?
One's going back, I'm going back. I'm going back. What's that? That better?
I hope they're not filming the camera.
That looks like it's going to be a long meeting tonight.
Thank you all for your service to our community and protecting us and acts of bravery. We appreciate it each and every day. So thank you, police officers and deputies and people that are here to support them. All right, we will do the approval of minutes. Did anybody have any amendments? Otherwise, I would accept a motion as presented.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right, the first item is public comments. If you are not on the agenda, you're welcome to come to the podium, speak for 5 minutes, share your name, ward, your address. Anyone? Okay, we will move along to business and discussion items. Michelle Weitzel, you're up first.
Hello,
Hi.
nice to see you again. I'm Michelle Weitzel, and I'm here on behalf of Marysville Main Street. We submitted 2 requests to the council regarding the 2 events that we hold during the summer in downtown Marysville and then in City Park. We're really excited about this year's events. I'll talk about the Mother's Day Market first. We had 130 vendors last year. We continue to grow the event, as you'll see from our requests. I should say, this is Ellie Argo too. She's the event chair, as is Mary Weicker and Sharon Kessinger. We're trying to grow the event. We're working with the library and MCAC to add a children's performance in hopes that we can get more families down there. And then after the performance, they could walk the vendors and, eat the delicious food and things like that. We are considering trying to bring a band down on Friday night, try to get more people down there at that time, and obviously continue with the famous chicken barbecue on Sunday. Does anyone have any certain questions regarding our request for that? We did add new this year. We're hoping the council would consider letting us sell alcoholic, beer at the bin. As you know, the grain bin during the barbecue is that central point, and we had quite a large number of people that approached us and asked if we had any of those beverages available at the last year. I'm not sure what council members here worked that event. I think Carla did, and formerly Brad Ekus worked that as well. And it was nice to have that bin as a central location, but we were, jokingly and seriously asked if we had any beverages, and we thought it might just be a nice addition to the event, again, with possibly adding a band and things like that. That was really the only
Do you know what
additional request.
the children's performance, do you have any idea what that will be?
Yeah, they're working, the contract is not signed yet, but with String Beans, they're
I've heard 'em
like
talk
a band.
about
They're
that.
based in either Lincoln or Omaha, and they have great reviews, and you can watch their performances online, portions of those. So we're really excited about, adding things that, again, might draw families that maybe went to the market, a few years ago and really don't, think that things have changed, that we're constantly getting new vendors, new events and things like that.
And we have a working committee now, so
Yeah, we have a
Mary
big
and
committee.
Sharon are of course always involved. And then we have
Lori
a few people.
Snellings.
Lori Snellings from Main Street, and then a couple members from tourism. So there's actually a working committee now, and we've also, it's nice to bring on the arts group to help us.
On your request, I just wanted to clarify a couple things. You said on the second bullet, it says to have city crew available all weekend. I assume that means throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, and then
And
on-
Gary, I will say, I don't know who did, but Gary, last year was my first event, was amazing. Well, they were all, it wasn't just
Yeah.
Gary, but they were amazing. I told Ally I couldn't believe everything was always taken care of.
Gary, it wasn't Wilbur?
And Wilbur was there too.
I remember
think
Wilbur
Gary
was there,
helped,
but
too.
anyway. Well, we appreciate all
Yeah.
our employees that do this.
Right.
On the, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth bullet, about calling temps, you want us to call temps, is that right?
Generally you do because it goes on the city's bill.
Okay,
I think
so the city
generally
does this?
Cindy calls them.
We're happy to do so, though.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I guess that's, the only thing I ask is that, just because the city is very involved with this, I thought it would be good for us to track the man hours that we devote to this. So when we look at what we get done or don't get done in a certain month, we know how much of our crew was there helping event. Not that we don't want to do it, but just man hours is important to me. So are you guys, does that make sense to you? Because some of us aren't there all the time and we don't know how many people we have, and so we'll just kind of have it tracked just so we have a general idea. Nothing towards you, just
We
for us to
understand.
know. And, okay, so that kind of covers all my questions. So I guess the only thing that was kind of new was the beer bin. So your thoughts, council?
What would be the outside area of where you would want it allowed? The
The
entirety
park.
of the park,
The park to the trail probably. And not
including the
past.
sidewalks, so like basically anything inside the curb?
Yeah, it's kind of, and we can, I mean,
It's hard to block off
We
a huge
understand that.
area.
It's not like downtown
Downtown.
Marysville.
and
Sure.
we kind of talked about that as far as, we can put crossings and signs and things up at every walking path, no different than we would in downtown Marysville, I guess, how we always have, anybody can walk out even in downtown Marysville with car show with theirs, so we kind of take the same precautions in putting things up, and we're pretty much driving the perimeter and driving around most of the time anyway to kind of help police it, I guess. We see it as a pretty calm thing, not anything really even near to the barbecue. It's just it's an opportunity. We've had people ask. We'd like to start getting people to like stay down there on Friday night and want to kind of hang out in the park and get more, you know, kind of life back into it. So
The Friday night's kind of aimed at, you know, take your mom out and listen to concerts.
Yeah.
Our proposed thing, we're working with a band, it would be like from, 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, so it's not like we're trying to ask to midnight or anything like that, but just a chance to bring your mom or just anybody out for the night, so.
I actually went around today. I put it out on my Facebook. And I also went up and down part of Broadway, and I was asking people, how do you feel about having, so they told me you'd be bringing that in like you did for the information last year. And I said, how would you feel about them selling beer? That they were either, I had 3 people that didn't care one way or the other. I think I got input from 25 people total. And the ones that didn't want it, they're pretty vehement about it. They're like, this is a family event. You know, it's different than the car show. Don't think we need it there. We're supposed to go out, have the family, the kids, and have a day together with mom. And then the flip side of it was, and it wasn't just men on one side and women on the other. It was all mixed up. And then it was like, I like to have a couple of beers while I'm shopping, you know? So I'd say, honestly, it was probably like 60-40. So take it for what it's worth. You know, they just said they didn't, I think it's something new. My first was they're gonna have beer down there, you know?
Yeah.
I don't wanna have to involve any extra security, because I know Car Show takes care of it pretty much on their own, and the police department stays on the perimeter of it. That's how we finally got that.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. Have we had much problem, you know, with having to have the police there, or any extra security down there?
They come anyway. I mean, they patrol anyway. It's kind of part of what they do. We never have any theft problems, or we were talking about this
We
the
get
other
asked
day.
that question a lot because it's outdoors. Honestly, new
outdoors. People
vendors
have to
are
leave their
very
stuff outside.
concerned, and we just,
And to us, like at this point, I mean, it would be shut down. I mean, when, like at 6 o'clock when we're done, we're done.
You're done?
You're done. You're not, and
the vendors are done too.
they're done.
yeah.
And like Friday
Yeah.
night, we might go a little bit later. It really kind of came about doing a Friday night mom's night out and maybe having a wine night or just something to get the mom's night out. And then we kind of decided, well, you know, maybe we should just kind of start small. It's not something, and it really came from people asking last year. I don't even think we would have came up with it ourselves because we had the same.
Which said, it says from 12 to 8 on Friday and 11 to 6 on Saturday and Sunday night.
And we're willing to, you know,
Yeah.
if Sunday's the day that, I mean, a lot of families come down and do the chicken barbecue, maybe we don't do it on Sunday. We're totally open. It's just something we thought would, you know, we'd see if that.
Did you want to have it till 8 o'clock because the band was
Yeah.
going to be there?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
only reason on Friday.
So Bobby, when you said 60-40, it was 60-40 what? 60?
It was actually 60, I don't like the idea. 40 is good. But I think, and then and the second on that was, I said, well, how would you feel about if we got the armbands and had wine or our wine coolers?
We talked about like a, I keep drawing it a mom because it's Mother's Day market,
Yeah.
like a mother's wine tasting or
Well, you
something
see,
like
and
that.
that was accepted better
Yeah.
for the people that were saying, not loving that so much. And I think it's because, unfortunately, they're flipping it over the car show.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't want for what atmosphere or whatever's going on. But I think you're gonna win the contest if you guys can come back with we'll have wine coolers, we'll have wine, you do that
The
sort of thing.
biggest thing is gonna be, it's gonna be a different our liquor permit.
For wine than
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's
we're
an
struggling
actual
with that with
alcohol?
like craft
It's an-
beer
yeah,
too.
It's an
Yeah.
actual alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, because they're so limited at like the car show barbecue weekend as to what beer we can even sell at the bin because it has to be the
So
lower.
we can do some wine, as long as they're a lower percent, we can bring in, we do it for the barbecue, we bring in Pomberies, like a fruitier kind of a woman's type thing, and so we can do it. If we did something wine-wise, we might just do a wine tasting, and in that case, you'd be giving it away, so you wouldn't need a liquor consumption, but that's why we.
You need consumption, not
Yeah,
selling.
that's why we
yeah.
kind of stuck with just beer, a 3-2
So-
3-2 per
The
day.
good thing is the barbecue car show weekend has not had any problems. I would, maybe Pod wants to comment, that's why we kind of wanted to approach this. And also the Squirrel Jam at City Park we weren't selling liquor or beer or anything, but we had beer at City Park for that, and it was very
Yeah.
successful.
And we see it very low key like that.
Vendors and visitors could bring their own beer to consume?
No,
No,
Vendors wouldn't?
no.
they might already.
I was
Well, I
gonna
was just
say.
saying, that's not
That's
something,
something
that's
they're
not
doing.
something we've ever,
Yeah, that's something they're doing without this.
Well, I'm just
permit or not.
wondering if you see a vendor with some beer, then you go, well, no, they'll say, I bought it over there, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to draw that line.
What
Right.
if it's like a beer garden area where it's like fenced off in this
Separated.
Again,
separate
yeah.
area? I don't know.
it doesn't accomplish, this is just my personal opinion, doesn't accomplish maybe the being able to, like you said, have it walking around while you're shopping and, you got barbecue from this vendor and you getting kids your tacos at this vendor and.
My only concern is that it's so uncontrolled. I mean, the trail side less so, but like the street side, 10th Street, I mean, you go around and over by the locomotive and the Beatty Depot, and it's such a big area, and you can't see, I mean, the car show,
Right.
it's, the buildings, it's easier
I
to
don't even
contain.
know-
More contained.
I don't see a problem in somehow kind of diagonally cutting off the pool and the tennis courts and even, we've talked about bringing blow-ups into the practice field area there to have more of a kids area.
So that it wouldn't be in
And
the
like,
kids zone.
we could very easily stake that off and have permit signs, every 5 feet, because we have them from the other event.
Right, we have them
That
from
say
school.
no liquor beyond this point, and actually it'd be probably pretty easy controllable if we did that. And that's, I agree with you
And I think
on
if you
this space.
did, my opinion is if you did something like that, and, we did this as a trial balloon sort of thing to see how it works, if it goes off well and people seem to like it, and I'd be okay with, giving it a shot, but
Where are you gonna have the band at?
We're hoping down where like Simmons area was, because the vendors typically stop at 6. Our goal is electricity is always a problem down there when you think about the band, that we'd be able to steal one of those plugs from a vendor that might not need that after 6 o'clock, and the band could go down there. And you can set up, there's not vendors down in that space, so.
So what direction, let's just talk specifically about the grain bin and then we can approve the other ones, but how do you guys, how do you overall feel about that?
you mentioned buying the beer locally. I mean, how big of a full-fledged operation are you gonna have? Is it gonna be a Busch Light, Bud Light, and that's about the extent of it?
What do we
And
have?
probably similar to the barbecue, Busch Light, Bud Light, Coors Light,
And Palm Breeze.
Palm Breeze. We
Over
would,
to you.
we would,
Beer brand
yeah,
coordinator.
we would, probably the same that we do at
So
the
no
barbecue.
good beer?
If you allow us a liquor license, we're happy to pursue that, because that is the number one thing we are being asked, just in general. People want Washington County Brewery beer.
And-
They want, they want craft beer.
I don't see a problem. I mean, maybe if we end up going, and we would come back, if we end up getting a band for Friday night, I don't see a problem doing just like the arts group did and kind of putting that area off and doing maybe a craft beer and wine night and allowing that and selling that
Just for the one night.
Friday
Yeah,
night.
and if you had a very controlled area like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that would, I think, be great.
So you want to kind of go in that direction of having it in a certain area one night and see how it goes? I mean, what are your
I think it'd
feelings?
be a good idea, especially because it's a smaller venue than what we have with the car show. And if it's in a contained area, where that's the only place they could have it at that time, I think that's a good testing grounds for it, to see
Are
exactly.
you okay with that?
I think it's gonna depend on if we can afford a band. Otherwise, it serves no purpose. We're trying to watch our pennies. We're gonna probably try to see if we can get the band donated, by people, because
You might get a Kansas Territory to sponsor something like that as
Yeah.
well. Tie-in.
so
We've talked with 12th Street about that too, again,
there
with
you
like
go.
tastings and things, and that
Sure.
obviously helps them. If you tried something down there, then maybe you're likely to go to their,
Right.
place of business, because
Right.
they have their wholesalers thing now.
Would
Is that-
you guys be willing, if we can rope off, if we can divide off the park a little bit so that the area is not so far, of maybe even just Saturday, having walk-around beer.
So Friday night
Saturday,
and not
maybe
Sunday
not
at all.
Sunday at all.
and Saturday?
So many people come down after church and stuff
That's a compromise
like you said,
solution.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I would be most comfortable with a smaller roped-off area,
Like on the Friday night? You mean both times?
well, whenever.
Well,
So you're
Terry?
talking about roped off, like when they're
I've
gonna have the
nothing to say
band, or
about this,
just in general area of the park?
Wherever they plan to serve the beer, have that a
Just have a
special
beer
area, because
A
then-
beer
not
garden.
have, not have.
Kind of like we're talking about where you, if you, even if you don't have the band, which I hope we do get it,
Yeah.
just kind of have that general area.
And
you
not
know?
have a mosey area.
Yeah.
so are you thinking Friday night and Saturday? Is that kind of the
Yeah, they
consensus?
cut it off at what, 8 o'clock?
Does someone want to make that motion?
I don't know how to make motions yet, Todd.
Okay, Todd, you want to make a shot at it?
Okay, so let me make sure we're all on the same page. So we've discussed this. Talking about a controlled area,
Control area.
Friday and Saturday, not at all
Not on
Sunday.
Sunday, right.
So
And
are
is
you
that
okay with
gonna be-
Friday, all day Friday, or just Friday night? I thought we were talking Friday night, but we can do it Friday all day. I just want to make sure.
The band, okay, we're going to play the band on Friday from 5 to 7.
And
Uh-huh.
Saturday from 12 to 8.
Yeah.
And that 5 to 7 might be 6 to 8. I should have said that's our tentative.
Well-
We're gonna do a 2-hour period that's not super late, that
Like,
we're trying to.
could we get it okayed from like 4:30
That's what I was gonna
to 8?
say, 4 to 8.
4 to 8, okay.
And then I guess the other deciphering factor is, are you gonna, can the council do what needs to be done so that we could maybe have a liquor license if we agree not to do any hard alcohol, just craft beers and wines?
What do we have to do for
Would be
that?
my question. We have to
That's
do
an
an
ABC
ordinance.
issue?
Yeah, we work together with ABC.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
but we
So-
are, in a controlled area,
Friday, 4 to
Friday,
8?
4 to 8,
Friday, 4 to
Saturday.
8.
Be around where the vendors, the food vendors are at.
It'll be down,
That's the thing is,
You
No.
can take the
Well,
food
you
in
can
you're
there.
gonna wanna get some food.
and then go in.
Yeah.
You could take food in, right?
Yeah, we could have a little area set up.
Yeah.
Some tables.
You
I mean, I
could
guess
get
it depends
food
on
and
how
take
close it
in.
is to the.
Yeah, and go
food
down
area.
there if you're gonna, yeah, and then,
I'm drumming up ideas right now in my head of what we're gonna call it.
She's the boss.
so Saturday, you want it 11 to what?
Saturday
what at the
from 12
beginning?
to 8.
12 to
12
8?
to 8, Saturday,
8.
12 to 8,
And we're not doing it Sundays,
and
and
not
then
Sunday.
4
So
to
in a
8 on
controlled
Friday.
area,
controlled and roped off
beer
area.
and/or craft
And
beers.
we'll work with them as far as
They can
getting
have-
the ABC, with the ABC to get the liquor license.
So they can have the craft beers, they can have, do you wanna try some wine?
Sure.
And wine coolers?
Yeah, I just think we agree on no hard alcohol,
No
Yes,
hard.
no
It's
shots.
not a hard alcohol event.
no shots.
Okay, that,
love shots.
I so move.
so moved.
I said-
So
What were
controlled
the hours
area,
on Saturday? I'm very sorry, just so I know.
12 to 8.
12 to 8.
12 to
As-
8.
as requested.
4
As
to 8
requested,
on
okay.
Friday, controlled area, beer, craft beer, and wine. Do I get it? Is there a second on that motion?
I second that.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, okay. And then the other requests as presented, did you guys have any changes you wanted made on that for the other requests?
For the Mother's Day market as a
Yeah.
whole, okay.
Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to accept the requests as presented,
Move to accept the request as presented,
other than the
second.
beer
other
garden.
than the beer, which we've already
I
addressed.
second it.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right.
I will ask that you maybe mark your calendars for the 13th for the chicken barbecue. I know several council members and the mayor helped
Or the
on
11th
Sun-
and 12th to volunteer.
Well, yeah, at the beer ben, you're welcome to work at the beer ben. But we sure appreciate, we work closely, Main Street does, with the Kester House board and mainly the Kessinger family, who's always been amazing with that event. Obviously, the aforementioned committee, but the council helped last year. We sure appreciated all hands on deck. It's a really fun, fast-paced chicken barbecue event.
Okay.
As for Big Blue River Days, our second, do you want me to move on, Carla? Is that all right?
Sure, if you're done with
we-
Mother's Day market,
We really don't have any different request for the Big Blue River Days, except the fact that, again, with the Arts Cooperative, they are hoping to bring a polka band to town on Thursday night to kind of kick off the weekend. And this is not your average polka band. They're called the Chardon Polka Band, and look them up. They are fun. They look fun. And so that's really the biggest request. And they're willing to work around the car show and barbecue committees in terms of, we do a lot of setting up on Thursday and trying to work all of that logistically out. But they just wanted to try to tag on to that already big weekend.
So,
That's from 6 to 10 that night? Yeah.
so on the one bullet about, the fifth bullet down when it says about trash cans, you say Saturday morning, but really you want it throughout the day because...
Well, we didn't want to have to say like we need a staff person. Like the barbecue tries to police it, is like we police our area and dump all of our trashes. It's hard to get out there with all the car people down there. The car show pays a significant amount for trash cans at every stop, but
We're talking about the trash cans of the cities
The
that are already
city's
there.
trash cans
Last year
only.
we had a trash problem, but we had more cars than ever and more
Yeah.
teams than ever.
it
was hard.
It's hard when it's overflowing and you walk by it, so.
Right,
might-
and we don't want that to look poorly on our community, and we don't want that to reflect badly on any of our businesses down there. So we're willing to,
And
we do
even-
whatever we need to.
I don't know if you can even have them dumped at the beginning, and it's really the ones by 7th Street.
Right.
The
Yeah,
worst
because
from the night
from
before.
Saturday night. or-
The one by my
And we-
office, the one by the Pony.
Yeah, we don't want the guys to have to deal with driving a gator through 5,000 people down the middle of the road in the middle of
Of the day.
Saturday. So even if we could have a number of somebody that's on call that necessarily you wouldn't have to pay unless we would desperately need somebody to come help out.
Yeah, I just think we need to kind of keep that in mind.
This event is just growing and growing, I mean, which is amazing, but these are those things that we just kind of have to come across as they happen.
And just to clarify, on the pool passes for all you new council people, that's for the day of the event, or the days of the event, it's not for the whole season, yeah. So it's just for the days. And the other thing is that they are really good about putting barricades up with signs that say no alcohol passed here, and you guys put those up, so just to kind of control it, they do have that signage. That is nice, and I don't see people walking outside those areas. I haven't seen it yet, so.
Well, I mean, it's there. It's just right there so they can see it. It's not just sporadically to have it there, and I think that works a whole lot better. So,
Okay, and again, I just would like the city to track man-hours that we devote to this, just so we know what our guys are doing.
And Mayor, I'd like to tell the council that the car club starts up something like 5:30 in the morning, and they put up the barriers for the car show, and they pick them up.
They take them down.
afterwards.
at the end of the day.
They've got a lot of workers there. So unless you guys see any concerns, I would entertain a motion to accept the request as presented.
And you have the addition of Thursday night liquor sales on there.
Beer sales.
Beer sales.
Because of the polka band?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Where's it gonna be?
Let's see where it is.
Are we gonna have?
would you guys consider for Thursday night, and we have to talk with Main Street, it's on their insurance, and we had it on there and we took it off. But we were talking about with the polka bands being there, that's more of a craft beer night, more of a Stein beer night, entertain having Thursday night, us at least be
5
able
to
to
10.
possibly,
Do this similar to what we're doing at the market.
similar to what we do at the market,
Okay.
I guess was and
So you have beer here, but you want to extend that to craft beer and no
if
wine, but
Main
just
Street
craft beer?
chooses to want to put that on their insurance.
I would think that would be okay if Main Street's approving one, approving the other.
Craft
We
beer
can-
and wine?
Again,
Yeah.
we'll have to run this by the Marysville Main Street Board, just because they provide the insurance.
Okay,
piece.
so the only change from this would be add that to that one bullet.
Just
Anything else
Just
you?
for Thursday night or for the whole weekend? Just to
I mean,
clarify.
we're open to discussion on
We're
that. I
open
mean,
to
let's be
discussion.
honest, those
they have
things,
it for May
if you only
31st.
drink that, I mean, that's pleasing to you, that you might stick around and dance, to a band all along.
Yeah.
All the night.
And we could restrict hours of sale on those items. When we originally.
We're not gonna do it at
sent
9:00 in the morning when all the kids are.
No. Anytime we were thinking after 5 or, after.
On Thursday
4,
night?
If we did it all
Yeah.
weekend. We originally were gonna come with all weekend.
Okay, so what are you doing, what do you want to do that for? Like, are you thinking Thursday evening and Friday evening and Saturday evening, or Saturday day?
Saturday, we would even say
Thursday and
Saturday. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to feel like, I mean, we're open, I guess, to
I
the
guess I would
discussion of,
be-
if you are open to all 3 days, we would absolutely
The only
have.
thing I would say about Saturdays, if we have it, if they okay it and we have it left, it would be nice to sell it on Saturday and not have to have that, oh
Right.
God, we didn't get the permission.
Right.
I think if it's just, originally we were gonna bring liquor to the table in a controlled place. And I think it's
We just
better
are
to
working
start
on
out
getting
with
our
like
ducks in a row.
beer, craft beers and wines.
So you're thinking Thursday night, Friday night, and all day Saturday?
Not all day Saturday. I don't think we want to sell craft beer at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you have 9 to 12.
Sorry.
I'd say if you're gonna okay it, we'll take it, but we probably won't sell it till
Sorry.
8.
Well, a lot of
We don't
times-
even know. Main
You guys
Street
don't even
has to
set
okay
that up
this.
till what, 11 or so?
So the beer, the bin itself is there for the entirety of the weekend.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we'll just approve it, and you can decide
Yeah.
what hours you want to do
Yeah.
it. So we're
Sorry,
going to
I
approve it.
didn't mean to be a confused.
That's all right, Thursday night, Friday night. Right, how
Saturday.
late at night? Do you
Midnight.
know?
It goes
It
to
says
midnight.
midnight.
We have to be done by midnight.
Okay, so Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday, leaving it open for beer, craft beer, and wine? Does someone want to make that a motion to accept the request as, do we have a motion? Okay, to accept the request and additionally add those items to it? Somebody want to make a shot at it?
Accept the beer and make craft beer and wine.
Okay, I'll help you.
Okay, thanks.
The requests as presented, adding beer, craft beer, and wine for Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday.
Okay, what she
So
said.
moved. So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All right, I know it was a long one.
That was hard.
Yes, yes. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. I think you have some beer, craft beer, and wine drinkers here
We do too, thank you guys.
Sorry again for being confusing. We sure appreciate.
with permits as required.
Could I say something?
Absolutely.
I've been at this for a lot of years, and I don't think in all these years, and I've been here before, all these faces are different from when I started doing it. But the cooperation we get from the city is truly amazing. Not only the guys emptying the trash, keeping the restrooms clean, it's a lot of work. But the police department, our vendors tell me, and have over the years, we come here because this is the safest show we go to. And it's because it gets patrolled. And they're not obnoxious, they just kind of walk through, everybody knows they're there. But I just wanted to know how much we appreciate it
Oh, well, thank
as a
you.
committee to do this.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right. Whew, those are the long ones. Okay, we are now going to jump out of order and go ahead and go to the demo benefits for elected officials, and then we'll go back to the compensation. So if we'll go to page 21. And Debbie is the one who contacted Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and then I asked if I could contact them again, just to make sure I understood everything. And for the past 20 years, obviously, this has been a benefit that they have given to the council members and the mayor. And their policy does say that she felt like the sticking point was that the employee had to work at least 30 hours per week. And the person I talked to didn't feel like that's probably what disqualified us, that we don't contribute 30 hours a week to city council. What they do have is they have an independent policy. I asked them if they could do a group of, just a small group of elected officials, and they said no. But they said they can do an individual policy. The individual policies are $39.99 a month. And what would probably have to happen is that you would buy your own policy, and then you could submit that to be reimbursed by the city. The other thing that she pointed out was for the people that are currently on the plan, that if to come back in on a personal plan, you have to have that 240-day waiting period that you had at the very beginning before you could have major work reimbursed. So it gives you almost 240 days of what, 6 months? So 8 months? 8 months. So anyway, so we have options. We can either, we can decide to individually buy it and ask to get reimbursed by the city, knowing that's how it would work. That would be taxable, correct, Debbie?
Yes.
So if you sent that in for reimbursement by the city, it would be included on your W-2 as a benefit, correct? Okay, so we can either do that and get reimbursed, or we can say we'll give it up and we can actually adjust our salaries up based on that loss of benefit. So, how do you guys feel?
Austin, were you able to check on either of those policies and see if either one of them were comparable to what the plan is now?
I don't think they're going to be exactly the same. And this is, what we were suggesting was the compensation, we wouldn't be picking out any of your plans from, because there's multiple things and you're each individuals, and it's not like we're only saying you can only go get one plan. But the ones that were $39 or $30 some dollars, I don't think they were exactly the same as what we have at the city.
There were two different individual plans. One was $39.99 and the other one was
$47.78.
$78, thank you. So,
and then there's also Delta Dental of Kansas. They also offer individual plans. So if you were wanting to go find, we're not strapping you down to Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And I've had Delta Dental and they're pretty decent.
so you guys have a preference on how to address this?
Well, I'm glad that there's a choice. You know, I personally, you know, like I said, I don't have the dog in this fight because I'm covered through my husband to a certain point. But, you know, we have the chance to, so, you know, that's up to you guys. If it's individual, it's individual. I mean, that's the way it is, that's the way it is.
Have a preference, Jason?
Doesn't matter to me.
Todd?
Well, I can go under, I have the luxury of having another option for dental through my employer, so, I mean, I can do that. I've been on the city's plan since I've been on council, and it's been nice to have.
It's a very good plan.
It's a very good plan, but you know, if it's something where we can't do it and saves the city money, I'm okay with changing plans, but I have that luxury, so.
Well, what we can do is we can say, we can surrender that benefit and then we can increase our salaries for the lost benefit. That's another option.
How much is it gonna save the city getting us off of this plan? Not that it should be-
Let's say
just curious.
$35 a person.
So it's $35 a person and the
Per
new
person
plan
per
is
month.
almost $40, so it's just a $6 difference.
I'm just curious.
Darlene, you want to suggest something? Or Terry, you want to?
I really think that we ought to work something out where it's, you could get this, be reimbursed for it, or if you chose not to, that would be up to you. But you more or less regulate it with the other ordinance that you were talking about that we were gonna pass later, and put it into that some way.
So, are you thinking you would give them the choice?
Yeah, if you didn't want
Either
it.
taking that benefit or having an additional $480 to your salary? Is that how you're
Yes.
proposing it?
Yeah, it'd be up to you what you wanted to do.
Okay, so you could either go with the reimbursement by the city, or you could get that additional pay in your salary.
Correct.
Okay, well, we could do that.
Just something to think about.
How do you guys feel about that? You want to go with that approach? So that way, it actually kind of leaves it open for whatever you want. If you prefer the dental insurance, then you have that opportunity to have it reimbursed. If you don't want the dental insurance, then you have the opportunity, then you will get that compensation in that amount.
So if we're taxing the dental reimbursement, it's in and out through payroll.
Okay.
If we're giving somebody an additional $480, it's just giving them an additional.
Then won't that
So
be
there would be
taxable
a
too?
Wouldn't it be
That's
taxable income?
That would be
That would be
taxable.
It's
taxable.
taxable.
Not that we all answered you though. But wouldn't it still be income and taxes taken out, just like, so if it's 400, so I say, I don't want that, so I want you to increase my salary $480. Won't you take taxes out for that?
Yes, but I feel, just my thought administratively, because the payroll is done quarterly, I feel like it would be better to stick with one way or the other, instead of having pick and choose.
If you're going to just, basically what I'm hearing is, you're getting paid for something. So whether you get dental insurance or not, you're gonna get an increase.
Right.
Why don't you just name a dollar? For instance, it was $35 per person. Well, what if we name $40 a person? We just increase salaries $40 a person.
Oh, and then you don't
And
submit it
then you
in.
don't even have to worry about
Oh,
it.
that's true. Then you can go buy your own individual
Right.
Yeah,
policy.
that saves us
Okay.
money on the other side.
Okay, are you okay with that, Terry?
No, I think.
Did
to
you
be-
follow that?
Yes, and to be fair with the city, I think we should go back to the amount monthly the city was paying when we were allowed to be a group.
Oh, so you're saying $35 a month?
Maybe a little bit too high, because I don't think the city ever spent that $35.
Yeah, it was $34.30 per month. That's what it was.
That's the way it was before? I figured you were getting a group rate and it was a lot lower than that.
No.
That was the individual figure you're gonna have to come back with.
No,
Yeah.
the individual figures have gone up, but that's what they were paying before.
Did what?
They were paying before the $34.30. Now they're paying, if you have to go and get it
Okay.
yourself, it's $39 or $47.
There'll still be a way to look at it where you could take an option on it that way.
So if we're gonna do this, are we gonna, if you're gonna do the increase in salary?
To
okay,
compensate, so you have
Yeah,
the
no, yeah.
opportunity.
Are you going to, you have to do it in yearly increments? Because you don't want somebody saying, okay, I'm gonna take the money, and then, well, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get the dental benefit 6 months later. Once they decide.
Well, they have the right to do that because it's an individual policy, so it doesn't really matter.
My point is for the bookkeeping end of it.
But they won't be involved in the bookkeeping part of it.
If we just,
Okay, I'm talking about, first you're gonna give them, you know, $450 a year. Is that gonna, are you just gonna hand them that up to them? Or are you just gonna give that monthly? You're gonna let them, if they want to switch back and forth, you're gonna let them do that, is my point.
That's up to them, because what's gonna happen is you're just gonna get paid your salary, and if you wanna get an
So there's
individual
no
policy.
reimbursement then?
Right,
Okay, got it, never mind.
it's all on you.
Okay,
And just quarterly as it has been.
yeah.
Oh, the regular payments are quarterly, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so it doesn't complicate
So
things.
based
Okay.
on this discussion, we are just gonna pass on this dental right now and move on to move back to item number 3. Are you guys okay with that? And that's on page 12. So if you take $35 times 12, it's $420. So let's, okay, so our ordinance number 1859 would be changed to $3,620 for the mayor and $2,820 for the council member. And that way the benefit is still rolled to us and you get the option to use it or not.
I think that's fair.
Okay? Well, based on that, I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1859 with those new numbers of $3,620 and $2,820.
I move that ordinance number 1859 be approved with the compensation for mayor to be $3,620, council members $2,820, and after being approved, for the mayor to sign.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call, please.
I gotta get this on the record. I am hesitant about this raise being done for the budget year 2018 because we didn't set aside funds for this, and I just wanted that out there.
Well, we have $55,000 in the general fund under miscellaneous.
Yeah, but that's, I'm just saying that we didn't budget for this. I just wanted that on the record, and that's all.
Okay, well, if we didn't have the $55,000, it'd be something. What, Bobby?
Is there some way we can roll this over to start, for next year? And we'll do it, and then we'll proactively pay it from now on. We'll get repaid for it, but it'll be in the budget next year.
Oh, I don't think we can make a commitment going forward.
Okay, all right,
Okay?
okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Boss,
Yes?
Pipia,
Yes?
Graham,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Fry,
No?
and Barnes.
No.
Okay. 4-2. Okay, and so that'll be published in the paper. And just so you guys know, if the people that say no, you're welcome to donate that money back to the city. If you don't think you earn it, I'm just saying.
Or to a charity of your choice.
Yes,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, if you
understand.
don't think you earn it, because I think we work very hard as a council. So if you don't believe you earn it, then you can donate it back to the city.
The conversation that I've been from previous council members and previous mayors and all of these, and I said, because I'm gonna hit you guys up with something for next year's budget, I'm just gonna warn you guys, there's something coming.
Oh, great.
Okay, but I said, 17 years. It's been 17 years since we had a raise.
And there'll probably be 17 more.
Exactly. I may not be alive then, and heaven knows I'm not gonna be on council, so, a raise once every 17 years.
Yeah.
That's the way I explained it to them. They said, well, when I was blah, 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 or I was on, I'm like, 30 years ago. Okay? 25 years ago. So, I'm just saying, I've had these moments, we've had these talks.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks for sharing. Mm-hmm. All right, the next item is Charter Ordinance number 21, which has to do with increasing our court fees to $85 per case. We discussed that last week, and it's being brought forward. Oh, wait a second. We'll have to have 2/3 of majority on a charter, so we have to wait for Todd to get back. But I can entertain a motion at this time to approve Charter Ordinance number 21.
Can we have, what's the cost now?
$65.
65.
65? Okay. All right.
65, and you weren't at the last meeting, I'm sorry, I should bring you up to speed.
No, that's fine, yeah.
We're at 65, we took a mid-range with the cities of surrounding areas, they ranged anywhere from 100 to 60, so we picked 85, which was a mid-range number. And we also talked a little bit about doing a split, 120/80 versus what the violation was, and we decided that was too complicated, so we just decided to go with 85. Okay? So I would entertain a motion to approve the Charter Ordinance number 21.
I move that Charter Ordinance number 21, increasing the court costs from $65 to $85, be approved and signed by the mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
Boss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes?
Graham,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Oh, good, we made that. We have to have 2/3 of the majority of the council, so we made that on charter ordinances. One more person got, and we couldn't even have voted on it. Well, we could have, that would still been 2/3. No, it wouldn't have. But anyway, moving forward. Ordinance number 1860, Okay, so this 1860 has to do with the Credit Bureau of Kansas contract. And what it's doing is allowing us to charge a administrative fee on the outstanding water and sewer bills. At this time, we have no administrative fee on it. Once we approve this and then we release it to Credit Bureau of Kansas, then we have to pay them a fee of 30%. So this is kind of to make up part of that, so our collections don't shrink automatically 30% when we give them to Credit Bureau of Kansas. You have anything to add to that?
I did, I followed up a little bit today with the league to see about this 25% being the cap. And Eric Smith at the league said that he wasn't aware of that, but it does have to be reasonable. So if the collections agency is charging us 30 and we're charging 25, he thinks that's reasonable because we're actually a little bit behind the game with them charging a little more, so.
We did look in the Kansas statutes, and the Kansas statute says you can do municipal court fees up to 33%, but we couldn't find anything specifically for water sewer bills.
How much do we carry on delinquent bills?
Well, funny you should ask that.
Thank you very much.
I did ask that information from Sammy today. On water, now, they're very current here at City Hall about sending them off to state set-off. State set-off, it means that we collect their money from their tax returns. Obviously, they have to have a Kansas tax return. Right now, we have $24,000 at state set-off. Of course, we don't get that until they have a refund due, and they take a 19% fee of that. The straight set-off people charge 19% to do that processing.
They don't take it out of what we're going to receiving, they charge them.
No, it goes out of what we submit. So we have, correct? Okay, so we have 24,000 there, and she said there's another 1,200 that is past due right now that she hasn't submitted yet. On the courts.
How long do they give them? Is it like
Till they
30
pay
day?
them.
No. Is
I'm
it
sorry.
like 30 day? Do they give a 30-day notice?
Yeah,
You're delinquent?
we allow plenty of time.
Do you?
So-
Probably closer to 60 days.
So it's kind of amazing. Their process is pretty quick because they issue the bill and then they do delinquent accounts. Those are the red bills, right?
The past due notices.
And then you do a
shut-off
shut-off.
notice,
And
then we
so
shut 'em.
according, now, is this true also for water and sewer? I know it's true for municipal, that before we send it to state set-off, we have to have 3 attempts. Do you happen to know if that's true with water sewer?
Not off the top of my head, I don't know if the ordinance directs that or maybe even state law, but I'm almost sure that there would be some express direction written.
Yeah. So,
there'd be some notice.
so we make the, in the court side, and the chief's here, but according to Ruth, the clerk of the court, she says that when they issue the ticket, that's the first notice, and then when they come to court, that's the second notice, and when they send them a 30-day letter, that's the third notice. And then after that, they can send them to state set-off. However, municipal court is in a lot worse situation. We have at state set-off right now $32,000, but we have a receivable of $118,000. And some of those are people outside of Kansas on the municipal court side, and some of them are people that are paying on a payment plan. And we'll have to decide on those people that are on a payment plan, how much we will let this go to the point before we send it. I mean, at this point in time, Ruth has said, as long as they're paying something.
Okay. On the water shut-off, we were talking about, is there some state law about having to have water? Are they just, I mean, you're taking
Are you
the water.
required to provide water like you're
Yeah.
required to provide electricity?
Yeah.
Isn't that electricity you have to
There
provide?
are some,
I don't
we've got
get
some
it.
stuff in our ordinances that say if you're without water for so long, then, there's different things and steps that you can take, but generally, these are just for unpaid bills, not necessarily people without water service.
Okay,
If there's people without water service, then we notify authorities and do different things.
Okay.
This is just
All right,
bad
that was my
bills.
question.
So these are people that have moved?
And just haven't
Right,
paid
or-
their bills?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Moved out of the city or moved to a different location that we have to track them down?
Yeah, okay.
Put it in a different name? I don't know. I'm just guessing
Yeah.
now.
I thought, I was more worried about,
People going without
families,
water?
Yeah, and children and, sewage, the whole the whole thing, so, okay, thank you.
So that ordinance 1860 is in preparation for the Credit Bureau of Kansas contract. And it says, subject to a fee of, turned over, shall be subject to a fee of 25%.
Now, the 30% they take, are they taking 30 of the 125?
Right,
Principal, and then we add 25% to that, and then they're taking 30 of whatever that.
right.
So we're not getting the 25%, we're getting
We'd end up with
25% minus
5
the
less,
30.
yeah. So we'd get a
30 they
negative
take.
5%, but at least it would be collected, we hope.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And when I talked to Chad with Credit Bureau of Kansas, everything that is currently at state set off, you cannot adjust up. We can only go forward after we approve the ordinance. So the monies that are already there are set.
Okay.
So if we transfer those to Credit Bureau of Kansas, we would lose the whole 30%, which we might have to do just to get them collected. So this would be going
Do they
forward.
charge a percent interest on past due?
Do we?
Yeah.
I don't think we do.
Or do we
we?
just have like, just a late fee? Or
Once it goes to set off, it doesn't, but we do. We have a penalty, 10%.
10% penalty?
Yeah.
From between the first billing and the red billing? And then do
Yes.
you do it
Yes.
again, or
Yes.
just that? You do it
Every month that
second?
they're behind, we'll do it.
You have a penalty
10%.
added on? Wow.
Yeah.
And then once it's sent
Set
to
off, we
state,
don't-
set off, the amount
it.
never changes? Okay. So some of those obviously already have those fees built in
Yeah.
to what's there, so we'll get reimbursed part of our actual costs. Any other questions about ordinance 1860? I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve ordinance 1860?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Boss?
Yes.
Pipia?
Yes.
Graham? Yes. Hughes?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
And Barnes?
Yes.
All right,
6-0.
6-0. All right, now, the Credit Bureau of Kansas, you should have I had a problem with one section, so I had them rewrite the contract, which is why it's on your desk. And I just wanted it to clarify under 2A and 2AI, that the first charge was on water and sewer only. So that's why it says non-municipal court accounts. And then the second one, they just changed the word. They had a turned word in there, so we changed it to submitted amount. And then the order of those sentences we changed so that we say we're gonna submit that amount, charge to the debtor, it'll be 30%, and the agency will pay the client 100%. So we just kind of rearranged that paragraph, didn't change the meaning, just rearranged a little bit. And that was the only change I had to the contract. Is there anything else you want to say about the contract? We had them come talk to us, probably, 6 or 8 months ago? And I can't remember why we didn't do anything. Do you remember?
We were still working on the
Ordinance.
ordinance for collecting for water and
Yeah.
sewer.
We just didn't get this
Right.
done?
Right.
Oh, okay. And, so anyway, based on the amount that we have outstanding for municipal court as well as water sewer, I think it can justify having them come in and help us.
On that second line, under A, should we have the word accounts still in the sentence?
I'm sorry, in the revision? Agency shall charge and agrees to pay fees on all non-municipal accounts.
All accounts submitted?
Are you talking about the very first sentence or under I?
Under 2A, the second line that's crossed out.
That's not crossed out, that's highlighted.
Oh, it's supposed to be highlighted.
Yeah.
That's the change.
That's the change.
That's highlighted to show what we changed.
Okay.
That's a good point, though. It almost looks like we marked it out, yeah. So that was just to specify that it's all non-municipal court accounts submitted. So that would basically be, in our situation, water and sewer. Did anybody have any other,
But it could, in case we have some other things. it
Yeah,
could
that's why-
include those.
yeah, instead of just saying water and sewer, they wanted to make sure they left it open.
Good.
We've never used a collection agency, have we?
No.
Debbie does have several other cities, has friends in other cities that have used them, and it's been very successful. They mentioned Junction City today.
There's about 50.
Yeah,
At
there's a lot,
least in the
yeah.
state of Kansas alone.
Lennox is coming on.
Manhattan, I think, is on that list.
Phillipsburg is
So
on.
all ranges of sizes too.
So I think it's good. I think the 125,000 of receivables for Ruth has been quite a juggling act, so I think this will help her a little bit. And you didn't have any problem with the changes there?
No.
Okay. So do you want to, I would entertain a motion to go ahead and sign this contract as changed or as amended?
I will make a motion that we sign a contract as amended with Collection Bureau of Kansas.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right. And then resolution, the policy resolution for the grave sites, Debbie revised. The one in the packet I didn't, oh, thanks. The one in the packet I didn't believe was how we wanted it, how the motion actually went. So I had her change it. And so here, the reason we were doing this was that every time we have an increase in grave openings cost, we don't have to redo the policy. So we have it set up that it's cost plus $200. That's what we agreed to on the adults, and then cost plus $50 for the child and infant. On B, we usually, should we have done it that way? Shouldn't have this in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so we'll make that 1, 2, because they're all different.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so for the adults, it was we take their cost and add 200 to it. For the infants, we take their cost and add $50 to it. On the urns, usually there is not a cost from an outside contractor, but in case there was, we had the $50 that we usually use or charge for our guys to do it. And then on number 4, which is also known as C, we have those rates, and then the 5th one would be the scattered ashes. Did you guys agree that this kind of is in line with what we talked about? Who is on the committee with me?
Me?
Yeah, does this look right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mike,
so, I'm sorry.
I have a question. We have the people from Hanover come over and do this. He's been doing it for a long time, correct?
I heard it's expertise.
Okay.
And we are not going around the gravestones, and doing this is very complicated,
Oh,
and they
yeah,
do a very
yeah.
good job. And their contract specifically says if there's any damage, they'll pay for it. Our guys in the cemetery and parks don't feel comfortable doing it, other than the urns, the small ones.
And I think they have, even their machinery smaller than what we have, and
I think so.
I've never
We
seen
brought
them
it up
do.
when we were discussing
Yeah,
it.
it's got a special bucket and everything
Yeah.
else.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, he does have a special bucket that's.
Just
wider.
asking.
No, that's a
Maybe
good
actually we have the
question.
same things too, and
Yeah.
that's what we were kind of told.
So I would entertain a motion to approve policy A80 as amended with the correct numbering. How about that?
I move to approve policy resolution number A80 as amended.
I'll second it.
Second it? Any further discussion? I can just do vote for it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, okay. And the next thing is B&W's contract, which is on page 20. As you can see, their current rates are $275 and $100, and they accepted that they would notify us in at least 6 months in advance. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement with,
I move that the agreement with
Russell Barron's.
Russell Barron's be approved and for the mayor to sign.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right. So now we jump over 9 and we go to 10, which is the fireworks. I was asking Debbie that, about the fireworks, and they have a cost here of $7,500. And the last 5 years, it's always been $6,700, and I thought it was because we paid early, but Debbie said not really, that it wasn't that. But that it's been for 5 years, $6,700, and we can approve an amount less. It would just be, I assume that they're giving us a quote based on the similar display. And it says not less than 15 minutes, I think, on here, yeah. So I hope you guys have all gone to our fireworks. I think they do an amazing job. But if you want to reduce it down, we can. We have that option.
How much did they increase it by? 1,000?
No, from 6,700 to 7,800. They increased it $800. I would entertain a motion either to approve as presented or with a new number in there.
I move to approve the Ariel FX Corporation to come and do our fireworks for us.
For the $7,500 as presented?
$7,500, yes.
Okay, and just so you know, and I should probably include this in the motion, is that usually half of it comes out of special parks fund and half of it comes out of transient guest tax. Part of your motion? Okay.
And it will come out of the
Special Parks Fund?
Special Parks Fund and the transient tax.
Half and half?
Half
Okay.
and half.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You're glad you didn't have to make it, right? Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right. And, okay, now we need to recess the city council meeting, and we'll call to order the Public Building Commission. Just so you know, this is, if you're on the city council, you're also a member of the Public Building Commission. So now we will recess our city council meeting for that commission meeting, okay? So call to order. Do I need an order to recess?
No.
Okay.
I don't need a motion for that.
All right.
Roll call, right?
Roll call, yeah.
Ross?
I said call to order, didn't I? I'm sorry, roll
Present.
call.
Pipia,
Here.
Graham,
Here.
Hughes,
Present.
Fry,
Present.
Schroller, Throm, Barnes.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and the item to approve is the interest payment on the swimming pool bond debt of $52,120.
I move that the interest payment of $52,120 be made to the Kansas State Treasurer for the swimming pool bond.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, and as you can see, Debbie put in the money that's in there, so we have a sufficient balance to pay that. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the PBC.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, and we will assume the regular order of business of the city council meeting. I am not aware of any notices or hearings, so we will move on to the consent agenda, which had 2 items, the Kiwanis Easter egg hunt and convention and tourism requests.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you have a question, Jason?
No, I'm just late.
You were just late.
I was reading.
Okay, so consent agenda approved. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
Move to approve appropriations ordinance 3669.
I second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Darlene, you want to announce how
Well,
much it
many of
is?
the items are transfer as per budget. And one of the larger items is our monthly payment for the ambulance service.
$12,000.
And we pay that monthly. We have a one-year contract.
And our transfers are about 63,000, and the total appropriations ordinance is 225,000. Okay, roll call, please.
Boss?
Yes.
Pipia?
Yes.
Graham?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
And Barnes?
Yes.
6-0.
All right, Austin.
All right, first thing on my list is the BG design contract for the Highway 77 C-Clip, which is a pavement restoration project. Basically, the project that was approved to get grant funding last year for the fiscal year 2019, which is from, let's say, June of this year to June of next year, because I always forget the months, but state fiscal year 2019. It's a $1.6 million project where we're going to take up from the north side of Highway 36 to about Spring Street and remove all the pavement that's there, all the brick that's underneath, redo the base, and then put it back as concrete. Like I said, about $1.6 million project. This is the design contract for that project, and we estimated in the application that this would originally cost about $129,000, but their contract is only calling for $126,500. The reason why BG is the only one listed here and we didn't go out to bid, this was a decision made this last year to continue on with BG, as they had a lot of the survey data. They already had all the work done in preparation, and then they also got the survey data for down by the high school as they worked on the TA project. So that's why you only see one engineer here. So we're looking to approve this contract as they presented it.
Are we getting all the way to Spring, or are we just getting to Walnut with this?
No, it's Spring. It's down by Spring. It's not exactly. It's about where the southernmost crosswalk is about where it's going to end.
Okay, where we're going to do the...
Where we're going to put the second crosswalk coming in March.
Okay.
They're going to start it when?
This is going to be a spring of 2019 project.
Okay.
But so we're going to design it this year and construct it next year.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
You know, the only thing I brought up with Austin was on 4.1.2, and you know, we had that discussion about that change order of that 3,500, and this specifically says no additional services or costs shall be incurred without proper written authorization of the client. And so I don't think that's historically how we received written.
Well, the written notice that we got was actually an addendum to the contract. It wasn't necessarily a change order. If we turned that down, there's nothing they could have done about it. It was just, they requested to change the contract. So that was their written notification going, hey, you know, we did all this extra work, which in the design portion of it is less of a hazard on our part, because they are in an office designing this. They're not working with other contractors. This is totally in their hands So they have a good idea of how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah, well, it says, no services or costs shall be incurred. So those were already incurred before they billed us.
I see it as, we didn't incur the cost until we approved the contract, like the contract addendum. So the city could have turned that addendum down, and we wouldn't have incurred those costs.
But I didn't think we felt like that we could.
Well, we discussed this. We had a big discussion on this, and when we took the vote, it was like the stinky toe vote. You know, I didn't want to do it, and I asked, I said, are we going to be dealing with these people again? And Austin said yes. So that's how we got to this point. Do they understand did they understand our displeasure?
Yeah.
I think so,
All right.
because they did write a letter.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
But again, like I said, in the design portion of it, it's just solely them working by themselves, designing this whole project. There is some working with KDOT, and once they get the design done, they turn it into KDOT, and it's all in KDOT's hands. But their projections for the design should be true. I mean, they shouldn't.
Well, we
have to
just
change.
hope it agrees with what the contract says, right?
So just them designing this, is there anything, a buffer for them and us, that if there's something that turns up that's different than what they surveyed, and they take it back and they put it into their CAD system or drawing system, that it might be different, and there might be some unforeseen issues that they might come back and ask for more money at that point?
As far as
Anything unforeseen?
the only part I would see as being unforeseen is once we start digging through it, and at that point in time, it's no longer the design contract.
So this is just for the design?
This is just for the design. We will select a construction engineering later on, which is what we had the problem with, was the construction engineering portion of it for the Clink project. So yeah, this is for them to draw it up, and then we can get to that point. And select the construction engineering once that process comes up.
But I just emphasize that we as a council would like to know if there is, that discussion, to bring it to us and let us know, prior to us receiving a bill.
Yeah.
Mayor?
Yeah.
The last time that happened that you were talking about, and there's amendment, whatever you want to call it, we're doing business with the same company, and really the excuse or the reason that they wanted this 3,500 was because they couldn't get it done when they wanted to. It was the weather, and they were having trouble with the construction company. And whether they tried to blame anything on us, the client, whether they did or not, we have to have that pretty strong in the contract with the construction people. If the engineering people do their part, and all of a sudden somebody has to come back for that construction person, then they want us to pay for it. That has to go in the contract that construction company has got to take up that risk instead of the $3,500 we paid last time.
Right, and we're still hoping Hall Brothers reimburses us at $3,500, so.
I realize that.
But you're right, and when we read the contract.
But we need to have that contract. Maybe this contract's real good for the engineering part of it, as long as it don't grow like a big balloon.
Yeah, yeah. I hate mushrooming projects.
Yeah.
So, you guys have any other discussions?
Is there anything under, like sewer lines and things that are underneath the highway, or those get replaced?
Yes,
Okay.
in fact, we really want to replace the sewer line that starts at Walnut and goes to Spring Street, south of Spring Street, which gets in a little bit past the project, but the majority is in the project, so we would potentially rip up that portion of it south of that and replace it to the next manhole. And then also, we want to upgrade the storm sewer in that area, specifically along this project. So, because we don't know exactly the shape the storm sewer is, and we want to get that shape. We want to know what's there.
Okay.
So,
I
yes.
didn't know what kind of shape it was in. I know that I ran into an issue that they called me on years ago where the sewer lines went out from the house. It was a property that was just
Excuse
north
me,
of the school.
excuse me.
And it went out into the highway, and then it ran up the highway for probably 50 or 60 feet, kind of on the side, on the edge of the highway.
Right.
But it was under the highway. And then they went down into 405, and when they came across to some underground, the trenchless across there, they boom, hit both those sewer lines. And then they had to dig up part of the highway and
Yeah.
patch those in.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
It was just north of the high school there.
Yeah.
North of the high
on
school,
the
by the
highway.
Evangelical Church?
Um,
Or the police department?
It'd be on the other side of this highway, be on the east side of the
On the
highway.
east side.
There's a couple houses.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
And they ran, which kind of threw me, but instead of running on the easement, they actually ran out into the highway and then went north. And it could be the highway wasn't that wide. It could have been the easement was wider and the highway got widened and then
Yeah,
covered
true,
the sewer lines.
And no, and that would be the idea. I think we identified that one portion of the sewer that needs, everything else in that area is lined. So it's got brand new pipes
Yeah.
for the sewer. The water's pretty much brand new, running across the highway. The real question mark was the storm sewer. So I think we're really looking to upgrade that. In
Well, the
project.
storm sewer, that was a whole discussion at the planning commission. We were talking about the storm sewer there. You didn't talk about this then, that night? That we were gonna upgrade the storm sewer?
I've talked about the upgrading of the storm sewer when we first started this project.
But you didn't bring it up at the planning commission meeting? Okay.
Was it getting upgraded or is it just getting replaced?
Well,
Is it the same size?
if there's like a 4-inch pipe, it'd behoove us to upgrade it. If it's already an 8 to 10 inch or a big enough pipe that we think is adequate, we'd probably just replace it if need be. But the whole goal would be to know what was there.
Which would have been a stormwater survey. Which was a stormwater survey.
I have never heard anybody say that there's darn any drainage issues in that area, are there really? Or I haven't really heard. I mean, doesn't it drain down through the practice field?
That's one way, and then there's another pipe that goes through, I think, the way Kent puts it, he can't figure out where the end of it is, but he knows one goes off to the east, and then a lot of it, if it gets caught on Walnut, it goes to the west along Walnut. So there's a few different, but
ways that it goes.
yeah, we figuring out where our storm sewer's at. If it's in good condition, if it's in bad condition, we'd like to replace it. If it's
So I want to get this straight. We are now going to do the stormwater survey that we did not ask the school to do.
well, it's more along the lines of let's dig this up and see what's there.
Okay. All right, we're approving this,
Mayor,
yes.
could I say something about this last subject when you was talking? This is a project that's gonna get done almost 2 years from now. They're just doing the engineering for it. Why don't we put some serious consideration on the fact of what's going on over there at the high school and the way they've done that in pieces? And really, the water study has never been looked at yet.
That's what I was just
This is a
saying.
good time for us to look at that before we put a brand-new road down and do things that aren't adequate, when actually it's been passed up because somebody said there is a discrepancy in the area that's been covered up over there on that school ground. And it's a good time that we should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, this should have been discussed at the planning commission about when the school was, they presented their site plan for the school. But there are faults in our stormwater ordinance, which I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, Craig, those recommendations.
I haven't given any.
Okay, but we do need to make our stormwater ordinance better, improve it, so that it will actually be used when we do have a concern about stormwater. But it's not playing out like it should, and that's what frustrates me, so.
They aren't adding, I mean, they're not adding that much area, I mean, where they're putting that, where they're, and I don't know, 'cause I haven't seen the plans, but, I mean, where they're putting that, there was already concrete over most of it, wasn't there?
Well, the thing is,
It wasn't like it was ground that the water was soaking into most of it.
well, you have to look at the entire project, the school project. So where the gymnasium is, you lost all that green space. Then all of it is,
Yeah. I mean, there's
all the,
just-
on the
well,
corner,
there's a
all that
little on
white space, that green
side,
space?
yeah. Well, they
There
tore
was
on the
it
north-
off and then they built them back.
area along that front and side. It's now
Yeah.
gone.
And then what they're doing is they're putting concrete down from the end of the gymnasium all the way down to where those buildings are. And so you are putting more concrete down.
So they're not putting any green space along in there around that building at all?
None.
That sounds like
I
it's
don't
gonna
think
look
they're
awful.
Well,
It's just my 2 cents.
It's, well, I mean, they added on to where they were
A wall
at,
and
so I mean, you're
brick and
limited by
concrete.
space.
All it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Sounds fit for a prison yard. That's my 2 cents.
I know, we talked a little bit about putting
wasn't at
a green roof.
Team
We
planning.
talked about a green roof, you know.
Yeah.
But there is no green space. But anyway, yeah, I guess the city will incur the cost to do the stormwater survey because our ordinance was not appropriate. With that being said, tonight we are approving the design contract for the Highway 77 C-CLIP project for $126,500. And these monies would come out of the sales tax fund. So I would entertain a motion.
I present a motion to approve the agreement with, the company's name is what? BG Design, the contract for Highway 77 and 36,
For $126,500,
$126,000.
coming out of the sales tax fund.
Pardon?
Coming out of the sales tax fund.
Coming out of the sales tax fund.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, all right.
Okay, second one is the information that was requested for my conferences that I was requesting. There's a breakdown on page 44, basically outlining an estimate on how much I think it's going to cost for these conferences. I'd like to note that one of them I could be going to for just the hotel stay because I'm on the planning commission or planning committee, which just involves me being on a conference call every once in a while to talk about what's going on at the conference. So these are the numbers, and they could be distributed throughout multiple funds as they impact multiple funds, as I impact multiple funds in my position. So wouldn't be out of the question to distribute this estimated amount to different funds. So as you can see, I got my Kansas Rural Water Association Annual Conference, March 27th through 29th. The KSCM Spring Conference, which I am on the planning committee, April 25th through 27th. The ICMA Annual Conference was kind of special. I'm going to Baltimore. The conference itself is September 23rd through the 26th, but I would hope to be gone through the 28th, as Baltimore is within a 45-minute bus ride, pretty much, to Washington, D.C., and I don't know about you guys, but I don't get out to Washington DC very often. And that's where the people that make the decisions on the federal level for the state of Kansas are located. And I like going and talking to our legislators and trying to make an impact for not only us, the city of Marysville, but for the state of Kansas, and show that we're here and we shouldn't be, not that they're forgetting us, but just somebody local to talk to that they wouldn't normally get in their range. So I would hope to be out till the 28th. And why the 2 days? If you've ever tried to make an appointment with the state legislators here, you get a 15-minute window, and it's during whenever they're not in committees. It's sometimes early in the morning, sometimes late in the afternoon, and I haven't even tried to contact these people. And I'm not just talking about two in Congress. I'm talking about as many as I can get from our local precincts and for the state of Kansas. So I would be hard at work trying to do that. And then you got the annual conference for the League of Kansas Municipalities. That's something that I normally go to and take along council members and the mayor. Usually a good showing from the city of Marysville. Happens over the weekend, and the day that I would be gone, as well with the council members, would be that Monday, but we would be back for a council meeting. So, and then the KACM annual conference would be November 14th through the 16th in Pittsburgh, Kansas. If you have any questions.
How many normally in a year conferences do you normally attend?
About 4. I attended last year. I didn't get to go to the league conference, and I didn't go to the ICMA conference. So I went to 3 last year, but I didn't go to the other 2 because of personal circumstances. I was approved for 4. I didn't bring up the ICMA because I had a feeling that I wasn't going to be able to go, and I believe I made it. The first year I was here, I came through half the year. I made it to 3 of the normal. Well, no, I made it to 3 of them. But normally it's about 4. Like I said at the last meeting, I don't always go to the annual ICMA conference, and I already know I'm not going to one in a couple years, so it's...
So you said it's annual?
Yeah.
You usually have that every year?
Yes.
My experience on conferences is the best benefit you get is learning what other cities our size are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That we bring back the most information to our town based on when we deal with cities our size. And the conferences in Kansas have you connect with other people in Kansas who have similar situations, similar size cities, similar issues. And so I just think there's a huge benefit to Kansas conferences.
There is sections. They don't leave small communities out in the ICMA conference. They're specifically line out pathways for us to take if we need to. And again, I specifically asked for ICMA in my contract because I know it's beneficial. It's not only for me, it's for the community, and and I agree. A lot of the Kansas conferences do benefit us because they have the Kansas local laws, and local communities in my network that I normally bounce off of. But ICMA has its tremendous benefits as well.
Were you gonna say something, Gina?
Yeah, I was just wondering, meals and the rental car,
No rental cars.
no rental cars?
No rental cars.
Okay. And would there be more days? Because I know the amount of days that you were looking at was like 15 days out of the office. Would there be more days, like the one in Wichita that starts on, I don't know, I think it's a Tuesday?
At most, I would leave, if I left the day before Tuesday, I'd leave in the evening. So I would not, I shouldn't be out of the office on that day. It does start in the morning, but it just, I wouldn't leave the day before.
You would be, I mean, readily available by phone if nothing
Oh,
else,
yeah.
if something came up, because, I mean, you never know when an emergency might strike.
Definitely, I always got my phone on me.
So you guys, you can approve 1, you can approve 5. It's really your discretion.
In my experience, when I was working, we never got to go to a bunch of conferences. It was spread out among everyone in the office. Granted, it was a different scenario because it was architecture firm. But even the principals never got to go to like a whole bunch of them. And it was also different because it was in San Francisco. So there's a lot of local trainings and seminars. But one thing that was nice and that I will stress is whenever anybody did go to any sort of training, conference, anything, they came back and did a lunch and learn presentation on everything that they covered and they learned to whoever wanted to go in the office. Now, it was a brown bag. You brought your own lunch and you sat and you listened to the presentation. So you could, anybody that wanted to could reap some of the benefits and the knowledge of the people that got to go to that conference.
So if you were to put these in priorities, what would be your number 1 conference?
Like I said, they all have their own merits. The water conference, here's the reason why these are beneficial. I cover a whole bunch of different subjects. There's a water conference, so I can keep up to date on the water and sewer section of this. There's the Kansas Association City Managers. They cover a whole bunch of ethical and managerial and so on and so forth. My level of conference. And then League of Kansas Municipalities is based off of what laws and a combined effort of council members and administrators and even department heads and all that. These are all different in terms of what you learn here. Even the KACM holding 2, they're different categories. So to push one of them out, I mean, if I were to push one of them out, it'd probably be the league conference, but they all have their values.
So what's your first choice?
I don't know. But I have to deal with multiple subjects. It's not just, no offense, I'm not just an architect. And that's.
But it was a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It was sustainability, it was green
Right.
design, it
Right.
was
And I have to
planning, city planning.
And I
it
have to
was
do that, all that.
Engineering, it was all of,
I have to do all that in one section. I have to do water in the next one, and I have to do parks and community involvement and.
What do you make of her idea though, as far as I kind of like that lunch and learn thing, as far as, just kind of going through and sharing that
I'm fine.
information.
I'm completely
Then it's
fine with
more,
that.
it's almost more than you going. It's like all of us having.
I'm
well,
completely
even
fine with
opening it
that.
to the city possibly.
Right.
Because technically though, everybody in the community is paying for it, right? So you could open it up to, if there's some conference on leadership, then anybody that was a business owner or whatever would want to come.
Yeah. No,
You could
I'm
post
fine.
it
I'm
that it
fine.
was,
I'm
"Here's
fine
what it
with
is." I don't know. I'm just
opening
throwing it
up
out there.
the knowledge that I earn. I'm completely fine with that.
I wish like in some of our workshops, because I've been to some training meetings now, but there's never enough time at council meeting to really share that much, that when we have the workshops, having some time to share. And then the same with Debbie. Debbie goes to conferences too, that we have time to share what we've learned.
But I'm sure he does. I mean, like if you go to a water meeting and you come back, I'm sure you talk with Kent about.
Oh yeah.
you know,
Well, and
what you learned there, you know. new
right,
things,
and
regulations.
the water conference that we also send a couple guys because it's a way because they have to get certified. I go to the water conference so I can actually talk their language. It keeps me in line with what they're doing, and when they bring up some regulation and stuff like that, I can go, what about that? And talk and completely have a conversation with them rather than, oh, okay, yeah, water needs to be chlorinated.
I can't remember. Didn't you say something that was it the ICMA that's written in your contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that,
So that one's in your contract.
well, at first, it says it has to be in the United States, and that's why you didn't go last year.
No.
It was in Canada, wasn't it?
No, 2 years is in Canada. Last year, I was having a baby.
Okay.
That's why I didn't go.
But it specifically says it has to be in the United States. And so, I mean, if you decide you want to send them to that conference, you can say that's one big conference in lieu of the other conferences. Last year, they were all in Kansas. This time, if you really want to go to the ICMA, you can go to the ICMA, but you can't go to the Kansas ones too. I mean, you have to think 15 days outside of the office is almost a month of outside the office that we pay, our citizens are paying for. So, unless he wants to take vacation. But, yes.
Might remember one thing too, that citizens are also paying the money out for the days there's nobody here.
Yeah, that's what I meant. They're paying the salary for those 15 days. And,
Okay.
yeah.
I know it says these numbers are subject to change too. But airfare to Baltimore was only $265.
Surprised me as well. Round trip.
Goodness
I know.
gracious.
Kansas City?
In fact, no, actually, yes, out of Kansas City. Yes.
Driving half the way?
No, it surprised me. In fact, I think it was cheaper than that, but I put it up because possible extra fees. It was kind of. It surprised me.
Right
So,
there.
so the ICMA conference is almost the same cost as the other 4 conferences combined. So the other 4 conferences is what, or he went to 3 of the 4 conferences last year. So,
What's the total figure?
well, he has 3440, but you have to add meals, gas, parking fees. There's going to be additional costs there, especially on the one that he flies.
It'd be kind of nice to know what we had a figure for the total bill.
Well, he's got 3440 there. I mean, you could honestly say it's probably going to cost about $4,000 for all of that.
You can't really think of these, yes, I'm out of office, but these aren't just conferences. Like, I'm not just going to an engineering conference and sitting there and making myself unavailable and not learning anything because I can't speak engineering. But these are conferences that benefit me so I can benefit the community itself. And just to keep this in mind, if I had 20 years of experience, I probably wouldn't go to 5 conferences in a year. I'd probably go to 3 or to keep my network up. Or somewhere along those lines, or I would go to 2 one year and go to 3 the next year. But I'm 4 years into being a city administrator, and there's still a lot, and I'll admit that, there's still a lot for me to take in, and a lot of things that I need to learn. And this is an educational experience when I'm not just sitting around doing nothing. When people need me, I answer. And if they need me right away, I walk out of whatever I'm doing. This is important, and I feel education especially from these conferences is an important part of my career, I guess you can say. And I want to help Marysville as much as possible.
I personally would prefer you to stay very current on what's going on, but, and all of us here, you know, it's the 5. I think if you could, what the mayor asked you to trim, give us one to trim.
I'll trim the league annual conference off.
The league annual
Yeah, and that'll take whatever it costs and the hotel and all that stuff off. I'll take, that way we can send more council members if they want to go. In fact, that's even more beneficial for everybody.
Anybody else want to speak on that? I just did it.
That kind of makes sense to me. I mean, especially council members who haven't attended.
Yes.
It's worthwhile.
It is a worthwhile conference. You learn a lot, and you get to network with a whole bunch of different communities.
Do you need to go to 2 KACM meetings a year?
They are completely different conferences. One is always held in Lawrence. Lawrence has, I hate to admit it, the top Master's Public Administration program in the nation. They teach a ton. They have a lot of access to educational materials that we pretty much everybody who's a city administrator, city manager goes to that one.
Okay, and then how about the KRWA, going back to the come back and teach, Gina? The KRWA, we need to have our guys there go to get certification for their water and sewer. So they could go to the KRWA and come back and bring back the materials and teach all of us, really.
Yeah.
So maybe the KACM spring and fall conferences and the ICMA makes the most sense. 3 out of 5.
On the other hand, the KRWA coming out of the water fund seems like it'd be, that seems like the really good use of that money. And I'm not saying they can't bring back enough materials, but it's still not as good as firsthand
Not
learning.
not to discredit
Just
our
devil's
guys.
advocate.
They're there to
Right, not
they
at
go
all.
to their
Job.
the
Job related.
ones that they need to be at that day for whatever they're getting recertified in. I go, you should look at this book that they have. You can't go to everything. No, not 5
that's
people.
true.
Not
That's
5 people can go can split up and go to all the trainings. KRWA is really important. One, yes, they could come back and tell me what they learned, but to truly understand it, like Todd said, it's a first-hand experience.
Good water
Yeah.
is probably the #1 priority for the city, even over good streets.
Which one's that? Excuse me.
Water, good
the first
water.
one.
Good water.
The first
quality.
one,
Yeah.
the water fund.
Well, to get us off of top dead center and make them, get some movement, I'd move to approve all of these without the League of Kansas Municipalities Annual Conference in Topeka. Approve the other 4, that one excluded, for Austin to attend. Do you want the total dollar amount? You want me to subtract that all and
No, you can say as presented.
as presented?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
Can we do lunch and learns? Add that in there? to do a lunch and learn for
I
the
can
presentation?
make it we can put that in the minutes and.
I just think it'd be really beneficial.
Beneficial, yes. Yeah,
I'd make a point of being there.
Sending you there, you need to come back.
And make a presentation on what you learned.
I mean, that was always the requirement.
And
If the company paid for something, then we had to bring it back and present it to the office.
So to get this right, you said lunch and learn and everybody brings a brown bag for me?
Yes.
Something to bring back anyway.
Okay, so the motion was, yes.
I wanted to ask one question though, too, just like the very bottom line there. I'd like that to turn into something besides just an estimate. There's got to be a top number to do on this estimates. I don't like the estimates. We're going to agree to do this, that's fine.
You want like a do not exceed amount?
Yes, something
Well,
that's
I would try to do that, but I had to pull these from last year's numbers. They don't exactly, I don't even know. I kind of know the KACM Spring Conference because I'm on the committee trying to arrange it. But
well,
it's I don't think I'm out there trying to waste our money. You know?
No, and well, we do know we're removing with this motion almost 400 of it. So I mean that puts us down to almost
and I think I included that $240
which
in
is
there.
possibly free.
Is possibly free.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to have a do not exceed amount of 3,500 because that puts us back up
For the four?
for the four.
For the four.
Since you're subtracting the one and that's including the 240, that way.
So when you say that on a training though, what do you, so what is your recourse? Does he have to pay the difference? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out.
Or submit for
Sure.
approval or something.
Yeah, something additional.
If
Because you're gonna include rental car, meals, transportation, parking fees, whatever, right? In that total amount.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be a pain.
I don't have.
Yeah,
I don't
just
have. Well, I don't have all that information, and it's kind of hard if. I mean.
Okay, what we'll do, based on what you said, $3,500 and not to exceed, and then in November, he will go based on whether those monies are left.
Or if there's more, then we have to seek approval for that extra.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you say 3,500 and then keep track of the first three, and if there's monies left, you go the fourth.
And this gives us an example year over year for how much.
How much to account for.
Well, that's where I come in. That's why we budgeted these
Right.
numbers.
Yeah.
We have $5,500 in.
I was going to ask what the budget amount is.
$5,500 just in the admin department.
But that also includes Debbie.
Yeah,
And includes all our council training.
Which is why I
Right.
suggested we could spread
Sure.
all of that out into different funds.
Oh,
Here's my issue with it. It's, what if, because I don't even know what other trainings are at each one of these things. There's a meal list that they go, okay, hey, we're gonna offer finance plus this here, and that costs an extra $175. Not that that's what's gonna happen, but it's something that's really beneficial, and it's all of a sudden, okay, I ate a chunk out of that, and then
we have your assurance that you're going to do your best to keep these.
No, 3,500 is, and you bring, and we bring it, and we have till November to get to that number, so it'll work. So is your motion 3,500?
the fact, we are not, as city employees, going out there going, here's your money, here's your money, here's your money, here's your money.
Okay, wait a second, I'm
You're
done
not
with
making
that.
it rain
I'm done with that.
Baltimore?
Is that your motion? Is that your motion, 3,500?
Yes, that's my motion.
Okay, is there a second? Second.
That's an amendment, so.
Oh, Jason did say a second.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you seconded the original motion.
I think I did the original.
Up to $3,500 is approved. Okay. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right. Now we'll move on. Now we have Debbie's. Okay, in case you guys didn't know, that was Debbie's on the next page, on page 45.
There's something else on his report, don't you?
Yes, council workshop. I guess we don't have to do that, we'll save some money there. I'm looking at dates, March 15th or March 19th for council workshop.
I need to do it on a Monday. I work till 7 o'clock on Wednesdays.
So March 19th?
That's my best day.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody
my
okay with
best,
the
my best
19th?
day too. I have another meeting on the 15th.
19th good for you, Jason? Yeah. 19th okay with everybody?
And what
It's
month?
Monday,
Monday
March.
the 19th.
What time?
5:15.
Monday night.
Yeah.
Right there.
We have a council meeting here and here. So it'll be on the Monday between.
And what time?
5:15.
5:15? Yeah, probably. My dad could probably watch the place. Greg's gonna be in Kansas City and my mom's gonna be working, so. Okay,
Reinhardt.
there we go.
Okay, all right. Let's see, oh, you're gonna be gone? So my questions, I just want everybody to know about, when we talked about, Austin put in his highlights about Los Cabanos and we didn't get funding for the chairlift, which I think is really odd. The ADA chairlift, they funded everything for the Heritage Trust Fund except for the chairlift. So if you guys know of any funding source for ADA compliance, just let Austin know. I did ask him to call North Central Planning Commission and they didn't come up with anything. But if you know of anything where we can get that improved, I just want to bring that to your attention. I also wanted to know what the status was of the employee review so far.
They're happening.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so how are the raises ranging from what to what? Because remember, we were supposed to walk on water was one, right, Darlene? That was your words?
So far, there's only been one at 30 cents.
Okay. You've only given one, or?
There's been a couple at 20.
Uh-huh. What was the range we gave?
20, 30, and 40.
Okay. All right. And the other one thing I wanted to know is what efforts had been done with the resident that was unhappy when we were unloading the hay dye. Have you contacted that resident?
He's contacted us, and we've talked to him, and he's
at peace?
Well, I don't know what his piece is because he makes the same phone call every year, and I try to have a conversation with him, and it always comes down to move the pile somewhere else. And he will buy the property, not only that property, but the one to the south of it, and we have this.
Well, the real problem is this year that the truck driver was disrespectful, and that's a whole different discussion.
Was that our truck driver?
No.
No, praise the Lord, no.
Well, have we apologized, even though our people didn't do it? Did
We had guys there, and he was talking to the chief about it, and that was the conversation right on hand.
He even sent me a card and note from my home apologizing for being out of hand and stuff. And I fully understand where he was coming from that day, and he has calmed down tremendously about that truck driver was way out of line. There's no doubt. I watched it. It was terrible.
Okay, so as long as that's been smoothed out. Okay, do you have anything else?
And then I put the lake, this drawing that Dave Richardson put together, as far as the handicap parking down at Lakeview that we've been planning. And this is what we came up with. 6 parking spots, 2 van locations, and then all concrete, and then a sidewalk leading on the, let's see, what is that, south side of the playground up to the ball field, basically. So everything that's outlined, that whole big block of parking plus 35 plus 50, everything that's got a measurement, pretty much.
This is the entrance, right?
Yes.
Looking at that, okay.
Yep.
Entrance?
Yeah, this area here, is it just me or is this kind of a pointless area?
It is.
At some point, should we consider like, I don't know, just not even letting people drive in there and letting
There is a use for it. The Pepsi guy uses
Well,
that
I mean,
to drop off.
could we gate it or something? I see people go in there and they're doing 14-point turns with kids running around the cars and stuff. It's bizarrely laid out.
There is, I mean, there's thoughts about what we could do. We could put a bollard that we can lay, that can be laid down for the Pepsi truck.
I understand the Pepsi truck, and we'll occasionally want to get trucks in and out of there, but generally, I think keeping people out of that area, vehicles out of that area.
It's a safety issue.
Yeah, that's why I thought even like, a big, obvious, like the trail has type gate that could be easy to open and close. And I mean, it just seems like it's an area where kids kind of run around and hang out and stuff anyway, but it's just a hard area to drive in.
You just
It's not
put
big
a
enough to
bollard
do a
in
U-turn.
the, you think you could make a bollard in the middle and break it up?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's enough room there or not. Or if there's too much room for one bollard, you could get around it probably.
You just pull
Or just a wider thing.
I mean, even if we just tried coning it off in the short term, but that's one area it looks like a safe, since it was kind of for handicapped, kind of, but now that we'll have actual handicap spaces, the utility of that space for anybody parking there seems kind of obsolete.
No, it's not a good parking spot, that's for sure.
So what we're gonna bid out, is it also this sidewalk?
Yes.
So it's just a sidewalk from the handicap going down like that 85 feet? Is that right?
Well, there's 85, and then there's that crossing point right there, and then we got this 50-foot one, and then...
Oh, we're gonna we don't have a sidewalk there now, right?
No.
No.
Can you do that with the bleachers that are there?
They're beyond that, they're over here.
There should be enough room.
Yeah, no, David went down there and drew this himself, so it's, and this is not gonna get into anybody's way. There was a question of, because there's a pole in the way of this one sidewalk, but we take out a curb to make that sidewalk work.
It may not be something that could be done with this project, but it's one of those while you're putting down concrete things. I still think we need some kind of concrete path through the gate or by the gate from the upper parking area down to the...
Instead of walking in the street?
Because people walk on the road and it's a one-lane dusty rock road.
And it's rough, right?
I believe there's a walk-through gate to the south side of the drive-through gate. So I don't know what kind of earthwork would have to be done to put in a proper sidewalk, but I mean, if we can tie that into another concrete project, I think having a sidewalk there, people will choose to walk on that versus the rock road. It would be.
We were gonna put that flume in for the drainage. Is
Yeah.
there room for a sidewalk with that flume? Should we build the flume into
This
the?
project is I'm estimating it at $10,000 is what we budgeted for. So the additional funds, I mean, I don't know where they come from, I guess.
It's been my experience when you're doing, I know. When you're doing these kinds of concrete projects, the more you can kind of do all tied in, the better off you are. And this is, I mean, unless, like you said, there's a flume or some other pre-work that needs to be done.
We talked about that flume needed to be put in.
Yeah.
And so is that flume, is that concrete work that we also want them to do?
No, that's what we were planning on doing.
The city
Because it was
workers
just
will
a
do it?
small piece of concrete that would start up on the top of the road and just go over the edge.
Well, what we can do is we can bid this out and have them give us a second bid on the
Yeah,
sidewalk, see what we
I'd like
get.
to see what it comes back. It might be pretty reasonable while there's no two mobilizations on it.
Yeah, just add in Newton in.
So, with that being said, do you want any kind of motion, or are you just showing it to us and you're gonna go out for bid?
Yeah, I'll just go out to bid with it.
Okay, for the handicapped and that sidewalk, and then potentially another sidewalk? Everybody okay with that? All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Debbie's turn.
Well, page 45, and I added this onto the agenda at the mayor's request. Conferences I hope to attend this year, and I've discussed them with Austin, and he was acceptable of them. And CCMFOA stands for City Clerks and Municipal Finance Officers Association. I'm currently serving as president of the association, and that's the Kansas Clerks. And IIMC stands for International Institute of Municipal Clerks. And typically I attend the league conference, and I chose to forego that, hoping maybe somebody from the office would like to do that, or possibly send Sammy to KRWA conference if she's interested. I know the time away gets a little bit hectic with her little one, but I was working on a grant to cover the registration costs for the IIMC conference, and I was just notified this afternoon. Unfortunately, I was not accepted to be awarded with a grant. So that's out, but over the years, you can see that I've obtained a lot of scholarships and different grant funding to attend the conferences and saving the taxpayers. And if I thought that this was any kind of burden or unnecessary, then I would not be requesting it.
Yeah, I've noticed over the years you've definitely done the legwork to get the grants and save the city money on registrations, etc.
And she has shared hotel rooms.
Yes.
I will add that.
Yep.
Which I think I suggested or somebody suggested it. Everybody was like, no way! So she was the only one willing to do that, so.
This is 12 days, including travel time.
But then these, right below that would be 2 days away from the office as well.
The executive committee meets in June for CCMFOA. As past president, it's not as important to attend, but it's still nice to be there for the other executive committee members moving up, and as everybody progresses, you know, they kind of look to you for answers on how you handled it. So, yeah, that would just be the only additional day, so 13 days total.
13 days.
I appreciate, I think, the recommendations on there too for training for Cindy, Sammy, Jill. I think that.
Yeah, as long as it applies to their job skill,
Yeah.
you know, or they want to do it.
Yeah, if they requested it.
I think, you know, that KRWA, I would rather see Sammy take a training that applies to her job more than just an exhibition. But I looked through the KRWA book trying to figure out what she would go to. You know, there's kind of
different.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm all in favor of spreading training around and to making sure everyone is adequately trained. So how do you guys feel about Debbie and her 13 days?
I move to approve Debbie's 2018 conference request as presented.
I'll second it.
Does anybody want to discuss anything?
I didn't look at the days, I should go back and look, but this is not gonna cross over when Austin is done any time, is it? Did you guys check
No.
that?
No.
What's that?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, okay.
Well, the November KACM and the November Institute, we might be a day overlapping there, but, you know, again, if I felt in any way that the office couldn't handle it while I was out, or, I wouldn't ask.
Oh, wow, that's true. That is going to overlap with his 14 to 16 and 15 to 16.
It is.
Well, Mayor, do you think you could stay at City Hall those days?
I'm sure I could, but I could answer the phone and say Debbie will be back in 2 days. I'm sure I can do that. How do you guys feel? We haven't had any discussion on this one, so we might as well discuss it.
Well, you got all new people here, we're gonna go to training also. So it's a training year.
And it would be good, again, if Debbie would share with us what she learns.
What she brings back.
Yes.
With us and with the other staff, the office. I'm sure you're willing to do that.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second, correct?
Just, are we talking about 3 different things?
Well, there's 3 conferences plus a day off for the executive board, so 13 days.
But this don't have nothing to do with where it's down there talking about sending somebody else to something else.
Those will just come up, I mean, we're not approving those because there's nothing definite there,
Right.
correct?
Cindy will go to MTI, the finance, municipal finance.
Which I thought that was a good
Rescheduled
idea.
that. They rescheduled that for March 23rd.
which I thought that was a good idea.
Diane's going to that as well.
Which I'm glad Diane's going as well. Do you have any other questions, Terry?
No,
I think she's talking about Diane, not me.
I don't have.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve these 3 plus 1 day for Debbie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, we'll move on to standing committees. We have street. I just want to encourage Austin at the workshop to have a plan for residential streets. A 5-year
We did.
plan.
We did.
I want to know funding and specifically what we're going to do for the next 5 years, how we're going to fund everything. We need to start focusing on residential streets. Anybody else have anything on street? I wanted at the workshop though. What?
I brought up, I think, it was probably all of a year ago, the streets, 12th Street, corner of 12th and Spring, on the upper part of, by the high school, where there's the concrete that's extremely broken
Beat
up.
up, yes.
Yeah, and I know construction is still ongoing there, so it's not a time to really do anything.
But not as much up there.
Not as much. They have some containers stored
Yeah.
there on the corner. I know that can kind of wait, but it got me looking at the curb and gutter along that stretch too, stretching down to Walnut, and it's pretty rough. But even worse, I don't know if you've
On the
gone to
east
any.
side? On the east side?
Yeah, on the west side of the street.
Where the parking is on
Where
the
the
high school?
parking is, there's some pretty up where the brick has settled and the curb and gutter stayed here. But
On the
worse,
parking side of the high school, okay.
worse than that is down at the junior high school entrance. I don't know where the buses stop and pick up the kids and parents stop and pick up the kids. There's right where 11th Street hits the high school and junior high.
Do you want to address that?
The curb and gutter there is extremely uplifted. There's 3-inch sections, 4-inch sections, and the bricks are wavy, and it is where everybody walks. So again, construction zone. I'm not sure what the city's going to want as far as all that angled parking there when they're done with all the project. If they're going to come and ask for us to help redo some of that, or because there's lay down curb, there's all sorts of stuff going on.
On
where
the north
handicap-
side of the high school.
Yeah, by the junior high gym.
Yeah.
But there where people get in and out of their cars and things, it is very, very rough and uplifted. And I think there's just cars stopped there enough that it's hard to notice until you actually walk across
Well,
it.
didn't you
But
tell me that was large equipment caused by the construction
I think the
equipment?
buses stopping and going there probably has been pounding that down over the last 50, 60
I thought
years
Mr.
too.
Mullins came and talked to you about that, and you said it was
On Walnut is what.
Yeah, that
on
stretch
Walnut?
of, yes, along
That's
Walnut.
That's Mr. Mullins
He
came and
did?
talked to me, yeah. and
Okay, well,
I thought your response
I've been
was
meaning to
a
bring it up for
construction-
6 months probably, and I always forget.
I brought it up with him before he brought it up with me and told him, hey, that's doing damage. And then he came back and a couple months later and said, hey, this is looking pretty bad.
But it was bad before. To be fair, to be completely fair, it was bad 2 years ago when my daughter started going to junior high and I started walking across that area. So, I mean,
God, and you mean just because we spent 26, or the people spent 26 million, we should do this?
well, no, I didn't know if they're gonna want other
No,
things.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
I understand why you'd want it to look nice because the building's a brand new building.
And it's
Yeah.
right where people, especially maybe older folks or people in the weather, and it's hard to see. And it's also, I mean, since it's a low spot, it holds water and then it ices. It just seems like when this is all done, it'd be nice for the city side of things. I'd hate for somebody to come out and go, well, look at the beautiful building, and oh, look, the city can't even take care of the street.
We'll probably get that, yeah.
I'm sure we'll get that.
Mhm.
So I wanted to put it out there now while I thought of it.
Okay, well, we will look at that when the I don't know when the construction is expected to be done.
2040, 2042.
You're so funny. Okay. All right, for water and wastewater, I wanted to hopefully set up an ad hoc committee to address the stormwater ordinance that needs to be written stronger. So I was thinking, Gina, since you've done, you might want to be on it. Darlene, you're on the planning commission. Maybe we can get Karen, because she's the one that drafted up what changes need to be done. And, and Kevin Cromie, the chairman of the planning commission. I was hoping that the four of you plus me could sit there and kind of take what improvements need to be made to the stormwater ordinance, mark it up, send it to Craig, and get it done. Are you receptive to that? Okay. Karen, you're here? Yeah? Yes. Okay. So will you ask Kevin Crummy if he'd be willing to do that? And we'd like to do that, get that going?
Okay.
All right. And Kevin. Okay. Anybody else have water, wastewater? Parks and Rec?
I don't know if this goes under Parks and Rec or not. Another one of those things I keep meaning to bring up. Finally wrote it down so I remembered. The city-owned property outside the levee, this property right here, it's really easy for me to reach. What are the rules for access to that? Are there?
It's public land.
It's just widely
it's just
public
out there.
accessible, so
Well, it's still government property. That probably should ask, but it's not
I
really.
mean,
regulated.
I don't,
Yeah.
people go down there and I don't care other than I've been down there as well.
Yeah. There's nothing they can do to, not saying they can't do something, but.
Would it be handled under the auspices of park? Or
Is it
what's
considered
what-
a park? Is that what you're
That's
saying?
what I'm asking. Because like the ponding areas have been kind of over here,
Yeah.
have occasionally been treated like they're almost under those auspices. Are they wastewater? Like that's a ponding area, so I could see that being wastewater or storm drain. I mean,
Yeah.
so I guess the question would be is
If somebody
If somebody
were to
wanted
take
to
care,
go-
if somebody were to take care of it,
if
probably.
somebody wanted to
Parks.
put a walking trail in down there, how does that work?
To put a walking,
Just per se.
It floods every year.
to put a walking trail, like to the ferry
roads now.
park or
And
what?
this is not a very accurate representation of what it looks like. There's Jeep tracks all down here to Spring Creek.
Oh, I know what
And
you're
down here, there's a rock ledge, and then it goes over here where the old sewage treatment plant was. If somebody wanted to use it for those purposes, do they need special permission? I wouldn't want anybody to run afoul of.
I've been asked for use of that land. For instance, somebody wanted to go bow hunting on there, and that's just they've asked. Nobody's really asked for access. It's not highly regulated. We don't have people down there all the time.
I know we're certain it's like a wildlife habitat,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's why I don't know what the rules.
Because we don't really mess with it because the levee, everything outside of
Yeah.
a certain boundary is not a part of the levee. So we really don't watch it. It's just land sitting there, and we don't have the manpower to go take care of it.
Fallow.
So you just want to know if you can walk on it?
Right, if somebody was gonna go down there or ride bikes down there and things, they are allowed to
They're
do that.
allowed to do that, yeah.
And I mean, and I know that the city, there's certain rules that apply to cities and city parks, right? As far as like liability and things, this is along a river.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's city. You bring up liability.
I gotta ask.
Now you're gonna.
Well, and the reason I asked too is the city does have some material stored down here, I've noticed as well. There's a fence and some piled of pipes and fencing materials and other.
Where the old
sewage treatment plant was.
treatment plant, yeah. It's.
I presume
think
there's
those-
no open pits or anything, but.
No, I think that's just leftover materials from taking down. It's not necessarily usable materials, I guess.
So do we need to put up a sign, enter at your own risk?
Well, and I think it's kind of been treated like the dam area where since it's city property, people access it to fish or do
Yeah.
whatever, but just, thought I should bring up whether that was actually okay or not.
We're not gonna stop anybody really from accessing it. If they're down there firing guns, that's a problem.
That's a little different.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
But.
Because it is city limits.
If they want to go down to the river or something like that, then that's not a problem. If they're riding their bike out there, that's not a problem.
Watch out for wildlife.
Do you?
We send trucks down the trails and
Only when it's muddy so you can have fun.
No, that's when I don't want them down there.
End up in the river, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Cemetery and airport? Police and fire. Chief, you've waited all this time.
Longest I've been at council, been a long time. As you see on the agenda, it is time to roll out another pickup truck. We had previously talked about it the last couple workshops that we decided to roll out the Chevy. We do actually have an older Ford, but we've decided to keep it an extra year longer. It's in better shape. So that's why we're going to roll out the new for the newer Chevrolet. That Chevrolet was also involved in an accident several years ago. They had to put a whole new frame underneath. And we've had nothing but electrical issues and stuff like that with it ever since we've had a problem. So we're gonna roll that one out. As you see, we got 3 bids from the 2 local dealerships. 2 from Boss Motors, 1 from Nordis. Nordis, it's a spitting identification of the exact truck that we have that we're trading in. And then this one, we're actually trading in. We're not rolling this truck to another department like we normally do, because there's no reason to shove these problems we're having right off into another department of ours. So we're actually trading it in. So the Ford trucks, there's 2 of them here. One of them is just like the Ford truck we have now. It's just a newer model of it. And the other Ford truck's a new one they came out with. It is a, get the right dang name of it here, police responder. It's kind of like the Crown Vics used to be and the new Explorer is. They're a police package, or built for police pursuit and stuff. These other 2 trucks are what they call special service vehicles. They're not pursuit rated at all. This is actually the first truck ever on the market to be rated for this. And I kind of like the thought of that myself. You got somebody backing you now instead of just using a special service vehicle. That's what we've been doing.
Can you explain pursuit rated?
Pursuit rated, you're going to have a bigger, heavier suspension in it. We also go for the higher alternators and stuff because we do run a lot of equipment in our vehicles. We try to change everything over to LED as much as we can, but the radios and everything else, we drain with the alternators, we drain batteries considerably. It's built different. I guess I could ask Craig if you want to talk about that truck, but it's built, it's going to hug the ground better than say a regular special service vehicle. Your special service vehicles aren't going to be too much different than a commercial vehicle, except that our trucks, we don't have carpet in them. We have, the plastic flooring and stuff like that in them. That's not stuff that we prefer the plastic floors, easier to clean, stuff like that. But you're not going to have a lot of the frills that you do when, say, you go buy a pickup truck off the lot, that kind of stuff. But we do have, the Pursuit's going to have your skid plates, stuff like that. If we're out, say, down that area Todd's talking about, stuff ain't coming up underneath, busting our electronics. If you actually looked under a car nowadays compared to the old days, there's plugs everywhere underneath those car trucks now, because there's sensors everywhere. Now these are protected by skid plates and stuff like that. So, like I say, there is 2 difference. There's difference in prices. All have the trade-in and all carry a 100,000 mile warranty as well. That's something we've always added to ours, because once we get to the 100,000 mark, that's when we start rolling our trucks out, because the cost of the repairs just get too much. Because in these streets, brick streets, they take a pretty good beating. These trucks are not, just like the old cars used to. So, the Chevrolet is $19,470, $21,668 for the one regular Ford, and then the police responder is $24,500. We budgeted $38,000. That was if we were going to not trade something in. That's why the prices are considerably lower than what we actually budgeted. Then we have costs for setup. The companies take our old vehicle, take all the equipment out of it. We take our new one down. They reset the new vehicle up. A lot of times, the only thing that it costs us besides the labor is we have to buy, say, a piece of equipment's no longer serviceable. We'll have to replace it. Or a lot of times, it's just brackets. Like you get to keep the same piece of equipment, you just got to buy the new bracket to fit the new vehicle, stuff like that. So, and that can be anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000. We don't know that until they get the vehicles in. So, but that's why we always push up the budget a little bit to make sure we stay underneath budget for it. Any questions about these trucks?
On the responder, is it gonna be, do you know if it's gonna be easier for the setup?
Okay, the responder, the difference between the responder and the other truck, the setup will be the same.
No, I'm talking about when you get it and when you get it and have to put up.
No, that's what I mean, putting the equipment in and according to the SSV, they're gonna be identical because the wiring harnesses are the same, everything. What makes it the responder is the suspension and pursuit capable, that kind of stuff. That's the internal, the beef of the truck, not the setting up the interior.
Electronics and all that, yeah. Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'll be abstaining from the discussion and the voting because of my business interest in Boss Motors.
Okay. No discussion from Darlene. Thank you for clarifying that.
What kind of lead time on these, one versus the other?
They're all, both of them 6 to 8 weeks. It just depends. This is the time of year where everybody's putting in their orders. So anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks.
For the council members who weren't here last time, we had some delays, didn't we?
Well, what we did was, and Chevrolet actually brought it to me again, that you can actually pre-wire a truck for some of the equipment you're gonna put in. Well, we ordered that last time because it was fairly nice. It was like a couple $100. It delayed over 4.5, almost 5 months on the delivery of our truck because they built it, then they shipped it and it's set in Arlington, Texas for 5 months, waiting in line to have the wiring harnesses. And I said, no, we don't need those because they'll build them right here where we have our truck set up. We'll pay them a couple $100 to get it back. Now, there's a new company that's came to me. They're out of Andover. All of our trucks are usually set up in Manhattan. Andover came in, they actually bring a flatbed, pick both trucks up, take them down, bring both trucks back down. If there's a problem, they send somebody up. They get a chance to bid, so we're actually gonna give them a chance to bid on it as well, instead of just having one person hold.
Makes sense.
Yeah. We'll give them a shot.
Yeah.
Other kind of questions for our vehicles to have? They'll be the same colors as the rest, white, same markings, all that. They'll just look the same. We decided to stick with a truck instead of go with another SUV because of the animals. I don't allow animals to be put inside the vehicles. It tears them up. They smell.
I don't know, about the only thing I noticed was that the Pursuit, actually, list value, or the list value started out actually lower than the XL, but then with the discounts and everything, then the XL came in with a couple thousand less, whatever it was.
I can only assume because it's the brand new first year of these new Pursuit trucks, that
Yeah,
they're giving a lot of discounts
I
for
would guess
them.
there's more wiggle room, that they've got more room to play with, because it's probably more standard configuration.
Because I assume the discounts come to the factory, not you, right?
Not to sound negative or anything, but, and I'm not gonna get into the whole steel versus aluminum debate, but are these police responder ones the same aluminum cabs and everything that?
They, from what I can tell, they will be, but we have never had a problem with any of the aluminum Fords yet. Not at all.
You said they last, what, 3 years?
3 to
So-
4. We're trying to squeeze 4 out of a lot of them. If we can get it done, it depends on the year. And like if we have when that Chevy truck got wrecked, we put a lot of miles on the other 2 vehicles because it was out of commission for 3 months. And this way, we keep them running. Yeah, we can stretch them 4 years. But if they start to hit the 100,000 mile and I got a truck that isn't, we'll park it and start making it the last vehicle out of the fleet during the week. But if it gets to where we have to have a truck, then that's when I come to Austin and say, hey, we're not gonna get that last year out. But we try to squeeze 4. Now mine, the Expedition, we squeeze 6 out of it.
Could you imagine there being any downside on the police responder unit as far as hand-me-down service to other parts of the city? I mean, is there any downside?
No,
On the skid plate's the only thing I can think of is it'd be harder to work on.
Well, to be honest, we add skid plates to all of our vehicles anyway
So it
when we
doesn't-
order them. And it'd be no different than giving that to somebody else that us using it on that at all. It wouldn't cut into their function other than, I think most of their departments wish we had 3/4 tons to hand them.
I'm sure they do.
All right. Anyone want to make a motion?
What's the benefit to anybody here in town to go ahead and spend an extra $5,000 for a truck?
The way I look at it is the liability, is if we get in a crash, we know that thing was Pursuit rated.
I can't hear you. What?
If we get in a crash, to me, I look at it as a liability. If someone's gonna offer me a Pursuit rated vehicle, we know that it's made for that. Or if I send somebody out in a vehicle that wasn't Pursuit rated and they get in an accident, I don't know, I'd rather fall back onto somebody saying, yeah, this Pursuit rated, it was meant to do that. You know, that's why we ended up with the Interceptor, the Explorer that we had, for the same reason.
The other vehicles that you do retrofit with the skid plates and stuff, what is the cost for that? Because that would increase these other...
No, they all have them in their bids.
Okay.
Yeah, like if this SSV, say the Ford, when I sit there and I sit with each dealer, and we go through and we build each truck in front of them, and I'll say, okay, we need to add skid plates, we need to add, say, whatever certain things have to be on there. We do that automatically, it's in the bid. We don't add to those afterwards.
Okay.
That's part of the original bid, as well as with the warranty.
To me, it comes down really between the police responder or the low bid. I mean, because, I mean, you're either going with the logic of you want to protect yourself from the liability and have that extra surety that comes with the police responder unit, or you want to go with the bid that's, 25% less. We've had some problems with the existing Chevy, and with the delivery problems kind of rub a person the wrong way. I was around through that. But on the other hand, how much does that offset by the fact that, like you said, how old was that truck when the entire thing had to come apart and go on a new frame? 5 months old, 4 months old?
Probably.
Yeah. So you wonder how much.
Well, the whole problem I had with that was our insurance company.
Yeah, they should have totaled the truck. Yeah.
Because literally it bent the frame in half. And it's like, but that was the second truck we've totaled. We had an officer hit down here, just sitting waiting to turn, got ran, literally bent the truck in half. The insurance company totaled it. Why they didn't total this one, I don't know. So it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
I could make an argument either way, but I mean, we're within the budgeted amount either way.
Considerably.
And we've had good luck with the Ford Explorer, right? I mean, we've had no problems.
And both shops
really.
service as well. We've never had a problem. If there's ever a part they got to order, both of us let us know that, hey, it won't be here till this day, we'll bring it in, no problem.
So with the extra setup costs, that'd take us up to the 28,000 and a half. And you said you had it budgeted for 38,000 with all, and that's the $3,000 or $4,000 extra, that's it?
Yes.
That's everything?
But that was if we didn't roll a truck.
If we didn't roll a truck, we'd be up toward the, well, who knows? The Chevy would be
pretty close.
They're giving us 15 for on top of that. So on the average, I think we have spent the last couple of years about 32 to 34,000 to buy one of these trucks. I added the extra 4,000 for setup when we were doing budgeting last year.
Okay.
But this way it'll keep us under budget.
So these prices you got in here, that isn't include, that you got marked here, that isn't including no setup deal, that's gonna be extra.
Yeah, because the setup's done by a private company, not the dealership. Dealerships don't set up cars. Matter of fact, the sheriff just took his brand new when he just got back, and he took it clear to Kansas City to have his done. I refuse to. I've seen some of the work at that shop, and I'm not gonna do that. Setup usually takes a week and a half to 2 weeks on a vehicle.
Well, I've got my misgivings with not going for the low bid, but since Chief seems pretty sure that the police responder package is something that would be of value to our police department, and I trust him and his judgment on the matter, I'll move to approve the 2018 Ford F-150 police responder purchase in the amount of $24,516 plus. I don't know, you want to approve now for the KCOM, or do you want to go get a quote and come back?
I want to bid that out.
Okay, then that's my motion.
Actually,
that coming out?
I'll bring the bids to Austin and we'll award that way.
Okay.
Is that included in your budget? Is that in your police department budget?
This? Yeah, we budgeted
Okay.
38.
So out of the,
Out of the police department budget.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
So 5-0. 501. 501. Okay. All right, Todd, you're good.
Anything else while I'm up here for the department?
I don't know, but congratulations for all your men and women
Yes.
that work in blue.
They do. We got a good bunch. That's why I hope to keep them.
Yeah, amen.
We're still trying to fill the hole right now from Mr. Anderson, but it's gonna be a chore.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Finance and admin. And city attorney, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay, I do, think we need an executive session for 15 minutes. Do you want to read the motion, Todd? I know you love this.
No, I eyes hurt, I can't. I'll read the motion.
15 minutes, please.
I move the city council recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 75-4319B1 in order to discuss a performance matter involving a city employee. The open meeting to resume in the city council chamber at 9:58 p.m. The executive session will include the governing body and
The
city attorney.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee. This one hasn't been down.
I'll leave that. Session of the city council meeting will now continue. I move the city council recess into executive session pursuant to non-elected personnel matters, exception KSA 75-4319B1 in order to discuss a performance matter involving a city employee. The open meeting to resume in the city council chamber at
9:10.
At 10:10 after 10 minutes. The executive session will include the governing body and city attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here we go. Go, Terry. No stops, straight back.
Wait, Dave,
You're a roll tonight. Okay.
you want me to?
Do you want to read this?
Yeah, I do, badly.
Oh, we have to wait a minute. We're 30 seconds ahead of time. It was 10:10, right?
Yeah.
We never.
I think you can reconvene early.
We can. Are you sure? You always said we couldn't.
You
always
have to,
told me-
because you could name a time 30 minutes from now and then come back after everybody's gone. So they want you to come back exactly on time.
You said we need to make a motion for the ad hoc committee. Is that what you said? Okay.
Prefer.
That's how you can get rid of it in the future if you don't need it anymore.
Okay.
Okay, no binding action was taken during executive session. The regular session city council meeting will now continue.
And we will continue, yes. We need to go ahead and make a motion for the ad hoc committee to consist of Gina Graham, Darlene Boss, Karen Hughes, and Kevin Cromie. So will someone make that motion for the ad hoc committee for the stormwater regulations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
6. Oh, you are?
Oh, those, yeah.
You radical, 5-1. Okay. No appointments or wage determinants right now, so we'll do roundtable. I just want to say, if you haven't been to the Odd Couple that was put on by the Marysville High School, they have it tomorrow night at 7:30. It was very good. Oscar and Felix was very good. Also, Marysville High School is going to Substate. The girls on Thursday, the boys on Friday at 7:30, so I wish them the best of luck. Darlene.
We've talked about lacking numbers on houses, street numbers on
You're
houses.
going to bring that up tonight?
Thank you,
Are we ever
Darlene.
going to do anything
We
about
oughta.
that?
Do we have to do it tonight? Let's do it at a 8:30 meeting rather than a 10
Or do we
o'clock.
have any
It needs to be-
suggestions?
Yeah, it needs to be addressed.
It does need to be.
I put signs
Is that
on
a
mine
pun?
years ago because I think my mail lady in chalk wrote my address on my, and I took it as a hint that maybe I should put it on there. But yeah, and as a plumber, I will say it would be nice for me because sometimes
So what do
somebody gives
you,
me an address and
so
it's
what do you
not-
want to do, Darlene?
I think
How
at
do you
one-
wanna handle it?
At one point, we talked about buying a gross amount of adhesive 3-inch letters and
Yes,
tell
and
people they
supposedly
can come
Rick
get up
was
to 3
going
for
to
free. 'Cause there's no
Order
bigger
those,
numbers.
but
You think that, we were talking about ordering adhesive?
Yes.
We discussed it. I don't know if we ever actually said to go ahead with it. I think there were some misgivings, but they're cheap enough if
Are they really adhesive? You
Yeah.
just stick them on
Yeah.
and they'll
Well,
work?
depending, I mean, I don't know
If they
it's
clean the
the
surface.
siding very good, maybe, depending on the siding.
Yeah.
Mine stuck to my mailbox. I mean, metal.
The good ones, if you clean the surface with like
Yeah.
isopropyl alcohol, they'll stick really well, but I don't.
Okay.
It'd be,
Alcohol wipes as well.
yeah. Yeah, you can buy gross of those alcohol wipes and give them away with each set of numbers. I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, I think code says they're supposed to have them,
Well,
but
fire,
how do you,
too.
fire, safety, and the thing of it is, it's not just for the people who live there. If you have an accident or something happens on a sidewalk, you look, what number, house number is it? I mean, if there's no number, you don't know where you are.
Is the code say 3 inch, do you remember?
I think it was
I don't
3.
remember, I think so, but we can do some research and see where we were last time.
Do you want to make a motion to buy adhesive numbers, Darlene?
I move that we buy adhesive numbers, street numbers, and have them available. for the
And what we
public.
can do is we can put on the water bills that we will give you adhesive numbers if you're willing to come in and get them, if you're willing to put them up.
Yeah, and I'd say up to 4 numbers, they can't come get them to put,
That's
you know,
true.
I don't want somebody to say, well, I want one of each.
We'll put them for your house number,
Yeah,
maybe you put it
yeah.
like that or something.
Most of
And,
the house
and it
numbers are
is
3-digit.
in our code that it's required.
Yes, it is.
And kind of
Okay.
maybe a little in on the water bill saying something to the extent of it's a safety thing and makes
Do
it
we have
easier
that much
for
space?
service industries or
Not much
whatever.
space. Although we could put it in the newsletter.
The newsletter,
We'll
yes.
put it in
that
the newsletter. We'll do a
Good
little
idea.
write-up. Okay. Will you remind me? Okay.
You could also mail them out with the water bill and have them, and when you did, if they didn't put them up in 30 days, then they're not
Well,
in
that's the thing too,
compliance.
if it's somebody who's, you know,
Well, true, we could.
You bet.
I'm just thinking, oh my goodness. All the things we're not in compliance on, we're gonna go after them for these numbers, but, okay.
Everybody
You
will
made
have
a
a number in a
motion?
week.
Yes.
Did anybody second it?
I second it.
Okay, is there any other discussion? So the city's gonna buy them, adhesive numbers, and
Money to come from? I'm sorry, we're trying to be consistent, right? I mean, I can't imagine it's a whole lot of money.
It's probably not. I know what you're gonna say.
Sales tax?
fund, yes, yes. It's a safety issue.
It is.
We
It
have
really is.
We have
It's
a
come
health
up.
and safety fund and the general fund.
We did.
Health
It's
and safety.
completely taken over by the ambulance.
Well, our ambulance is 144. and I
The
think-
ambulance service ought to appreciate this as well.
Yes.
So we'll have them deliver the numbers.
As
When they go to a house and there's no numbers, they hand them out.
I think our health and safety budget is 151 and our contract is 147, so there's a little cushion in there. Do you want to take it as sales tax
I was
fund?
gonna say, I imagine $500 would buy a whole lot of sticky letters.
Sticky letters.
Numbers,
okay.
not letters. Well, actually, it could be letters if there's an A and B apartment or something.
Oh, okay.
There
So
are
you're
those.
gonna take them out of sales tax?
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay with you, Darlene?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion, further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You gonna oppose, Jason? Okay, 6-0. All right, anything else, Darlene?
No.
To Bobby?
No, actually, I've done enough snooping around and asking people enough questions, so I'm good to go this time.
You're done for now.
Yeah, for now.
Till the next meeting.
I'll be good next time.
Okay, Gina? Terry?
No.
Todd?
I'm gonna miss the work session in both council meetings in March, so y'all don't do anything too crazy while I'm gone. That'd be great.
Oh, man, could be tough.
But I've never missed 2 council meetings in a row. I've only missed that probably 4 or something in 7
total?
years, so hopefully everything goes smooth.
Be safe.
Hopefully Kevin's
Be
well
safe
by
in
then.
Africa.
Yes, I'll try.
Yeah, in case we need a quorum.
That's all right. You can always call me,
Anything-
but I'm 8 hours ahead, so try not to do that too much.
Anything else, Todd?
That's it.
Jason?
Yeah, it's late, but I had somebody ask me, and I've kind of wondered this, and I've heard different answers. Is there any way possible that somebody can buy a FEMA lot?
You know,
Is there any way
I
the
just was,
city can pay those off and
I
sell
just
them or
contacted,
something?
North Central Planning Commission, and they referenced, something, an article for the FEMA lots that I'll send to you. I'll read it and send it to him, but they said something about how to address them, so I'm hoping there's hope.
Especially since the levee was built. Those FEMA
Yeah.
lots predate the levee, so
Well, this guy has one right next to him. He has no place he'd like to add on to his house.
He
Is
can't
what he wanted to
go
do.
anywhere.
Yeah, and there's empty lots sitting there.
So I do have it, I mean, I could send it to you if you want it, or I can just send it to Craig. Would you like a copy of it?
That'd be fine with me.
do you have any idea how many FEMA lots we have, Austin, Debbie, guess?
There's a bunch.
I'm guessing 20. How, am I
I'd say
close?
close to 20.
Do you want me to send it to you so you can distribute it out to everybody, Debbie?
want
Just so they know what they said, and I'll send it to Debbie and Craig. Anything else?
That's about it. Oh, I did, somebody complained about my house that's on the corner of these tore down, and I would just like them to know, if they have not seen it yet, the
You-
trees got removed
I
today.
saw
Two of
that-
them
I
got
saw you
removed
out there today.
Another one's gonna come down tomorrow, in April or May, the house is coming down.
I saw that you're working on the
So,
trees,
I don't
firewood.
want anybody saying I'm getting preferential treatment. If anything, they can say that they came down harder on the council member than anybody else.
there you
So
go.
You can make an example out of me.
You're an
But it's-
example.
But it's
A
getting
shining
it's getting
example,
torn down
Jason.
For a long time.
So thank you for cleaning up our
I
That's what
got
started
that
the
phone
storage
call
container
today.
thing.
I got that phone call.
preferential treatment?
Did they know that I was,
Oh.
did they know I was? that I
No,
was-
they're like, well, he's gonna do that. And I said, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I am.
And I said,
You need to
because, I said, you came to me, I went and discussed it with him.
It's a legitimate complaint. I'm not gonna argue.
No,
I mean, I'm
no,
gonna
no,
argue
no,
with
no,
anybody
no,
that says
no.
that house needs
But he
taken
was
down,
like,
because it does. But
Whoa,
I
you
was-
know.
I was
So I don't
kinda
know if
waiting
this
to
is
see
empowering
what
this person or
happens
what.
with somebody else.
There you go. It's always good when, success.
I'm impressed.
Efforts.
Great.
Efforts for it.
Anyway.
With that being said, an entertainment motion.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0, adjourn. Hello.